that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months, and even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice, special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Ranger station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Russell Wilson says he wants to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years. Oh, my God, 5, yes. 5 big running backs, yes, ladies and gentlemen, have not signed a franchise tag. And ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Manziel speaks. We have a lot to get into here on the Sports Loudmouth. You got to be fast. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the player $300 million. You better be sure that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely lost on calling plays. Maybe he's a therapist. Did you see Lamar Jackson cry to the referee? No, he didn't. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, for a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. My name is Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey, and Sean Smith. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Sean Smith, every Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings, you go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Call us at 631-672-3108. Again, it's 631-672-3108. Mr. Smith, what is up, my friend?
What is going on, fellas? Nothing much. Typical Wednesday.
Is it typical? It's a little rainy over here. I know it's probably about 85, 90 degrees over there in Texas. What is it out there? What is the weather out there in Dallas or wherever you are?
What is the weather like? The weather is about 60, 66.
What are you looking at? Are you looking outside? And
yes, check his thermometer.
I had to make sure, looking outside, to make sure what it was outside.
I wish I had that power. I wish I could look outside and then all of a sudden say, oh, it's 42 degrees. It's 45 degrees.
No, I just remember from earlier. That's all I was just saying.
60 degrees. Wow. Over there in Texas. That's nice. I like that one.
It was 90 degrees the other day.
Really?
Wow.
You know what it is? It was 50 degrees yesterday here. And now today, because it's rainy, it's about, I would say, 41. And it's probably the highest the weather has been in a very long time at this time of year. I think it's down like it's up about 5-6 degrees that it usually is. So it's crazy. We're here in New York. It's rainy. It's disgusting. But tomorrow's supposed to be beautiful. I'm hearing that it could hit 55 degrees tomorrow. So we'll see. As we all know, Fish is a coach, so he loves it when it's a little bit warmer. So football's right around the corner. It tells you football is around the corner. But anyways, we have a lot of stuff to get into. At 9 o'clock, we'll be talking to former Twins, Cubs, Marlins, and Tigers outfielder Jacque Jones. He's a friend of the show. He's been on the show before. Fantastic personality. Knows a lot that right now that's going on in spring training for the Minnesota Twins, and he's followed the Yankees over the last couple of years too. So it's going to be very interesting to hear what Jacque has to say in the offseason for all these teams, and how big is Juan Soto and that trade for the New York Yankees. Looks like it's pretty big right now in spring training. We will see as the season moves forward. 9:30, we'll be talking to NFL Draft Lounge analyst, consultant, our friend John Vogel. So if you guys are getting ready to watch the Combine, well, John is one of the best in the business. I think he's out there right now at the Combine, if I'm not mistaken. But John will be joining us. He's as good as anybody when it comes to Combine stuff, and he will give you who you should be looking at the Combine this coming year, and what to watch going into this weekend's Combine. So very interesting, and we're looking forward to getting John on the show. Russell Wilson says he wants to win two. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years. What is Russ smoking? I have no idea. Maybe we should ask Sean.
He's smoking that good loud pack out there in Colorado. You think about it.
Well, he's smoking something.
Because how do you not think you're going to win another Super Bowl again? You're not going to win another Super Bowl again. You're not even going to play again. You're a backup now. You're officially a backup quarterback now.
Well, he could go to Atlanta. I mean, we'll get into it. Neither Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley receive the franchise tag. Very interesting. And now all 6 of them are free agents. So get ready for it, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a lot of movement when it comes to this offseason at the running back position. Chargers say they will likely trade Khalil Mack this offseason. I've been saying that. I think he had 17 sacks this year.
Career high.
Yeah, he had a great year. And obvious, I told you guys this. Jim Harbaugh is going to be looking for his own pass rusher. He's not going to go with Khalil Mack. I'm thinking about Jaleel Okafor. We were talking about it the other day. Offset. And it's so funny because Khalil and Jaleel, it all works together. It rhymes. Raiders say they will not trade Davante Adams. We'll see about that. I don't believe it. And that's just probably trying to jack up the price for the Jets or any of the other teams interested in him. I don't believe it. Vikings say the idea of trading Justin Jefferson never crossed their minds. That's a lie. $35 million of a source says to me that I don't think they're going to pay him that kind of money. That's just my opinion. We will see, because if Kirk Cousins doesn't come back, who's throwing him the ball? So
maybe Sam Darnold.
Oh, please. Johnny Manziel speaks out about his post-NFL career, says it included a strict diet.
A strict diet of blow. That's what he was on.
Yes, of cocaine, ladies and gentlemen. Are we surprised that Johnny Manziel said that? Not at all. And very interesting. It was a very interesting interview with Mr. Sharpe. We will get into it. LeBron James says he wants $60 million. Yes, you heard it from me. $60 million. The big 6-0 a year and he wants a 3-year deal. I don't know what he definitely is smoking something. I'll say this. LeBron James is still a good player. He's a fantastic player. He's a good spokesman for the NBA. He's the face still of the NBA. Him and Steph Curry are the faces of the NBA, especially internationally. The problem is he's not worth $60 million. And if the Lakers decide to give him that, oh my God, they're going to set their team back.
Hold on. Why isn't he worth $60 million? He's still at the prime of even at 39 years old. Whatever how old he is, he's still one of the top players in the NBA. How can you hate on a man?
I'm not hating on him. We'll get into it.
Hey, from now on, your next custom jersey shouldn't say loudmouth. It should say hater.
First of all, I am the last person to be a hater of LeBron James. So it just shows you how much you listen to me, buddy. He's not worth $60 million. Oh, my God. Nicole Hardman says that the Jets can't tell me about winning. He might be right about that because the Jets haven't won in 54 years. Okay. So he's right about that. But is he the quarterback of the team? Is he the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs? Is he the main reason why they went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl? He did catch the winning catch, but what does that mean? I mean, I would believe that I think that Patrick Mahomes was the one that threw him the ball. So I don't know. Mecole Hardman likes to speak. I've got my thoughts to the whole Mecole Hardman thing. So a lot to get into, a lot of football to get into. Tomorrow, we're going to get into a lot of the combine because it will start tomorrow. It's going to be a fun weekend. If you guys enjoy watching some of the great young players and the future stars in the NFL, you must watch tomorrow into Saturday afternoon. Russell Wilson said on the Brendan Marshall show, I am an athlete, and that he would like to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 seasons. He also mentioned that he would like to stay in Denver, but he doesn't expect them to bring him back. Wilson also mentioned that the Broncos benching him of him last season due to the injury clause, that's popped up, in his contract is an illegal procedure according to the NFLPA. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reports that Wilson would consider taking a veteran's minimum to be a starter with another team if the Broncos cut him. The Broncos have to pay him, Wilson, $39 million next season and would take a dead cap hit of $85 million if they cut him. In 15 games last season, Wilson had 3,070 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. The Steelers, Falcons are the teams that expressed interest in Russell Wilson if they trade or release him. Russell Wilson, I'm going to say this. I like Russell Wilson. I like his personality. I know a lot of his ex-players and ex-teammates did not like him. And we all know what happened last year when Nathaniel Hackett was over there, when he was arguing with the defense, he was arguing with the offensive line, on and off the field. It wasn't working. They bring in Sean Payton. Sean Payton stuck up for Russell Wilson. He spoke very highly of Russell Wilson before the season started and threw Nathaniel Hackett under the bus. He absolutely threw Nathaniel Hackett under the bus. You've seen Aaron Rodgers come out and stick up for Nathaniel Hackett. You've seen many different coaches and former coaches come out and stick up for Nathaniel Hackett on how bad Sean Payton looked when he opened up his mouth. But was Sean Payton wrong? That's the question, because this year without Aaron Rodgers, we all know what the Jets' record was. They were 7-10. They didn't put up the numbers. He couldn't figure out the Zach Wilson woes. By the way, the Jets told him to reach out to other teams. They've given him permission to reach out to other teams. Nobody's going to reach out to him. He has a better chance of making a CFL team than he does as an NFL player. That's just my opinion.
Not according to Wes. He says he'll take every CFL quarterback over Zach Wilson.
So there you go. So he might not even be looked at by any CFL team anyways. But looking at the Broncos going into the offseason, there's a lot of questions. Sean Payton wants to put a stamp to this team, and he wants to put his stamp to this team. And Russell Wilson is not the answer. It was never the answer. He did not want Russell Wilson. If you know anything about the story, when he was there for his last 2 years with the Saints, there were stories coming out that if Wilson became available, would he want somebody like Russell Wilson on the team, on his squad, if he becomes available? And he said, and some people compared Russell Wilson's skills to a Drew Brees. And Sean Payton came out and said some interesting things about Russell Wilson. He's not my cup of tea. He's not the type of quarterback that I would be looking at to bring to my squad or my team and try to run my offense. So he inherited Russell Wilson last year when he took over for the team. As we all know, Denver traded a first-round draft pick to bring Sean Payton in. And what happened last year was remarkable, because in the first half of the season, they were absolutely disgusting. It was horrible watching the Broncos. As a matter of fact, if you don't remember, or you do remember, the Jets actually beat them in the first half of the season. And I'm a Jet fan, so I'm just speaking from the truth. And we've seen what the Jets did in the second half of the season. Wasn't that good. But nevertheless, When you look at what the Broncos did in the second half, Russell Wilson had a lot to do with it. You want to say whatever you want. His numbers were good. They weren't fantastic. He didn't throw over 4,000 yards, but he didn't throw a lot of interceptions. He didn't put himself in harm's way. He still threw 26 touchdowns. He could still play in the NFL. Is he a starter in the NFL? And I know Sean has his own opinion towards it. But I will say this. There are a few teams that are looking for a starting quarterback that might not have a chance to land one of these young, talented quarterbacks in the first round. The Steelers being one of them. Last year, they showed not one, not two, not three, but 4 starters throughout the season in 17 weeks. I know it's 18 weeks because there's a bye week, but 17 weeks. 17. We saw 4 different quarterbacks. And Pickett is not the answer. We all know Kenny Pickett is not the answer. He was a first-round draft pick. Everybody thought he was a Pittsburgh guy, and bringing him in, he was the perfect fit for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. It has failed. And Mike Tomlin is going nowhere, as far as we know, at least this year. But he could go next year. And I believe that's the reason why they're not going to go after or draft a quarterback in this year's class. They need to bring in a veteran. What are the veterans that are going to be available that you could bring in and get you over the hump, get you into the playoffs like you made this year? And by the way, Kenny Pickett wasn't your starting quarterback in the playoffs. Okay, so that's a problem. The best one available, the best free agent quarterback right now going into the offseason, no doubt about it, is Russell Wilson. And everybody's going to say Kirk Cousins. But Kirk Cousins is going to be expensive. When you look at Russell Wilson, he already said he's going to take a veteran's minimum, which means he will probably get paid, if he gets waived or dropped by the Broncos, probably around $5 million. 3, something of that magnitude. And if you look at the Steelers, that would be the best option for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As far as the Atlanta Falcons are concerned, the only reason why I think the Atlanta Falcons are interested in somebody like Russell Wilson, because they feel that the quarterback they're interested in right now could be May or Caleb Williams. You're going to have to pay a king's ransom to jump to get one of those guys. And that's the only reason why you're hearing Atlanta, because I guess they don't believe in Penix. I don't think they believe in any of the other quarterbacks, McCarthy, whatever his name is, from Michigan. I don't think they believe in any of those guys. So now you're hearing Russell Wilson's name being brought up. Ryan Tannehill, another one. Jacoby Brissett, another one. By the way, the Jets have reached out to both agents of Brissett and Tannehill. Yay! I'm clapping my hands if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt again, that we have Ryan Tannehill as our quarterback or Jacoby Brissett. I would rather Jacoby Brissett, because I don't want big mouth Ryan Tannehill crying about something on the sideline. As we all know, he didn't like Malik over there, and he didn't like to help out young quarterbacks on his roster. So why would I want him on mine?
The Steelers also reportedly were interested in Ryan Tannehill, too, to reunite him with the great Arthur Smith.
To me, right now, the Broncos are not going to keep Russell Wilson. They're not. And I do believe that one way or another, the Broncos are going to be one of those teams that are going to jump in this first round and try to land one of those quarterbacks, the May or the Caleb Williams of the world. That's what I think. If there's any team, everybody keeps saying Chicago might trade that first pick. If there's any team that will jump, where's the Broncos picking from?
11.
11? If there's any team that will jump from 11 to 2 or 1, it would be the Broncos, because we've seen the Broncos trade draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. every single year. As a matter of fact, I don't think they've had a first-round draft pick in about 3 years.
And they're not good at homegrown quarterbacks in their entire franchise history. John Elway, they got lucky on because he didn't want to play for the Colts, so they brought him in. He wins some Super Bowls later in their career with John Elway. Obviously, he's a Hall of Famer, but that's the only one they brought in, and they brought in Peyton Manning at the end of his career. That's not homegrown, and Peyton Manning, again, as we talked about many times, wasn't the reason they ended up winning that Super Bowl. They are horrible at developing quarterbacks, so if they're going to take that kind of chance, they better know what they're doing with the scouting department, especially like you were saying, after they traded so many first-round picks and so many overall draft picks to trade for Russell Wilson, who's now going to be gone because they're not going to take on that money, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to trade for him. I agree with you. I think some team will take him on for that. I don't know if he'll get a veterans minimum, but he's willing to pay for it for a good team.
He's going to get a veterans minimum. He is. He's going to get like $3-4 million. I mean, Sean doesn't like Russell Wilson. It doesn't seem like he thinks
it's not that I don't like him. I'm just saying. I mean, Russell's too worried about making babies and being a family man. He's not really worried about being the number one quarterback no more. He's doing off the field stuff and a whole bunch of stuff. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not hating. Just true spitting the true facts about it. I'll tell you this. What does Marshawn Lynch have to say about Russell Wilson?
Said a lot. He said a lot.
He said I don't even have his phone number.
So that tells you a lot about that type of guy. If that was the type of guy I played with, I probably would have snuffed his ass a couple of times. You know what I mean? I would did him like I did Brady Quinn. You know what I mean? So it's just being honest. No team wants a leader like that. You know, he had his own office. Like, too many demands. It's prima donna. If we try to win a Super Bowl and win, we got to be on the same thing. Why wouldn't you? It's guys I play with. You pretty much have everybody's phone number on your team. You can get their phone number, even if you don't really fuck with them or not fool with them. You still will get the phone number, you know, because you have an event or something, team bonding. You got to show up, or you want to know who's there. You know what I mean? So that's BS. I don't like that. That's the reason why I don't like him. I'm not gonna say I don't like one of the characters I don't like about him because he's not no leader. He's not a true leader.
There's not a lot of leaders in the NFL. And everybody keeps saying the locker room, they got 3 leaders on each team. If you look at the Jets, who was leading the Jets this year? Honestly.
That's another dollar.
Hey, listen, I just know the Jets. Who's leading the Jets right now in the locker room? Who's leading the Jets? Is it CJ Mosley? Is it him? Is it Aaron Rodgers?
This is the thing. This is the thing. Yeah, every team, you have captains and got teams vote on who should be players to vote who should be the captain. And sometimes sometimes it's by popularity. Who's the popular person on the team? They become the captain. They're not necessarily leader. I was a captain. In my what 10-year career, I maybe was a captain 2 years. That's it.
I wouldn't want to be a captain.
Nah, but I didn't want to be a captain either because I don't want to come early to the fucking meeting to meet with coach about this and this. If I have a problem, hey, I yell at that practice. Any guys that play with me will tell you. I used to get on Marvin Lewis all the time. Hey, man, we can't be get on offensive quarter, man. We can't be doing this, man. I ain't trying to be on the field all game. I'm not as a defensive player. I'm not trying to be on the field all game.
Sean, did you play with Sean Payton when in your brief stint with the Saints, or was that a different coach?
Nah, I know Sean from Bill Parcells. Sean was with me my rookie year in Dallas. You know what I mean? So he molded Dan Campbell just like Bill molded Sean. You know what I mean? So it's for the same tree. And, you know, Sean is an old school, hard-nosed coach. You know what I mean? Trying to be a player's coach, but he's not really that. He's in his own world, just like Mike McCarthy, like all these guys. You know what I mean? So I personally, hey, Russell's going to get more than a league vet minimum. I give him that. He's going to get more than that because, like you say, Atlanta, there's a few teams that need a quarterback that maybe he could go in and be the backup and fight for the number 1 spot, but it's all about needs. And it's all about what happens in this draft. You know what
Sean,
I mean?
who is Russell Wilson going to be fighting for that starting quarterback position with the Steelers? Are you going to Kenny Pickett? Are you going to trust that Kenny Pickett this offseason is going to miraculously be better than him?
I don't know if Russell Wilson can handle a Mike Tomlin type of coach.
Mike Tomlin's a player's coach.
Mike Tomlin ain't with that prima donna shit.
Really? He had Antonio Brown.
And Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Hey, you see what happened, right?
Yeah, they were there for a long, long time. So was Juju
Smith-Schuster.
Smith-Schuster.
Antonio Brown wasn't like that at first.
Not at first, but
He
when
wasn't. And then
when
as
he
he
did have
grew
those
like
issues, he had trouble.
He gradually got situation after situation, and you notice Tomlin addressed some of it, and then enough was enough. Yeah, when you're a star player, you got a rope to hang. He had a lot of rope to hang, but then it was like Tomlin was like, forget it. Tomlin's a hard-nosed coach, and that prima donna shit that Russell Wilson does is not going to work.
I do believe when you look at Russell Wilson and the position that he is going into this offseason, he's never been in a position like this. He is going to probably be a free agent, and he is going to have his choice on where he wants to go. And this is something that nobody would have thought at the age that Russell Wilson is. And what is he, 34 years old? He's still usually as a quarterback, you're still in the prime of your career. They usually say from the age of 28 to 36, if you're a top-end quarterback, you're in the prime of your career. Russell Wilson's at the tail end of a prime of his career. And it seems like now maybe they can figure out where he could go, and maybe he fits with that offense, maybe he fits with that coach, maybe he fits with that team, and he can come back and have a great season where he puts up 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, and he's an MVP candidate. I remember like 3 years ago, he was an MVP candidate with Seattle, and then all of a sudden, after he hurt his thumb, if anybody doesn't remember, and he had quick surgery during the season, he hasn't been the same quarterback.
Remember that year.
So basically, you're saying he's soft as cotton.
Most of these quarterbacks are as soft as cotton.
John, you even said it like 3 weeks ago.
Jackson's not soft. Patrick Mahomes is damn sure not soft.
Really? Don't get me started about Patrick Mahomes, okay?
Hey,
I know you have a love fest for him.
2, 3.
Yeah. I know you want to show me the middle finger with the 1, 2, 3.
I said 3. I did 1, 2.
Yeah. You made sure the last one was the 3, okay? But
either way, if you count, the middle finger's going to be 3, my guy.
You could do it opposite. I would do this.
Oh,
50.
come on.
1, 2, 3. Use the thumb, man. Why do you have to give me the finger?
I'm not Russell Wilson. I have my thumb. Oh, my booby hurt.
Wow. Maybe he'll be another Patrick Mahomes. He says he can win 2 more in the next 5 years, and that would make
he had a chance to win 2. Guess what he did? Throw an interception. When you have Marshawn Lynch behind you, he had a chance to make history.
John also says he has argued with his O-line his whole career. You remember at Seattle, he complained about the O-line. Carl also mentioned Justin Fields. Justin Fields has been expressed an interest with the Steelers as well. That's an interesting one. If I were the Falcons, I would trade for Fields. And the Broncos don't have the picks to move up. Well, yeah, they could trade a bunch from future drafts, though, Carl. And maybe that's what they'll do.
And I see what Keith is saying. Mahomes isn't soft. Okay, I first of all, I don't know if Mahomes was really hurt going into that Super Bowl against the Eagles, okay? Because he looked pretty damn fine going into the second half when he ran 30 yards, okay? So I don't know what to believe when it came to Patrick Mahomes in that Eagles game. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't hurt, but I think he was a lot more healthier than he made himself out to be. So, again, I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes is fully soft, but I think all quarterbacks are soft in some kind of way. They all. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, when he gets hit, he cries. Okay? Tom Brady, you know this, Sean. He was the biggest crybaby of them all. And the guy never got hurt. He got hurt 1 year. He tore his ACL.
Peyton Manning was first, Phillip Rivers, then Tom Brady.
Okay, you know, because you on the field. I don't know. But I know that every time I watched Tom Brady play, he was crying. Every single time he'd get hit, he'd go right to the referee. You see Patrick Mahomes doing it all the time. And that's the NFL. When you're a superstar in the league, you get the calls. And I don't care what you say, Sean, because you were a defensive player. And you know, every time you hit that quarterback, what did he do? He ran to the referee. Oh, my God, he hit me. He hit me low. All about.
Hey, what you think I said?
Oh, I know what you said. I know what you said. I'm not going to say it on this show because it probably would scare everybody away. But I'm sure you said some nice derogatory things. So not nice. That's for sure.
Keith also says Russell Wilson is out of his mind. Errol, do you think he's a top 5 quarterback like you and I disagreed on before the season?
Not this year, not this past year. He hasn't been a top 5 quarterback in the last 2 seasons. But, I thought when his first year with the Broncos, he was going to put up the numbers he did in his final year with Seattle before he hurt his thumb. It was I think it was the last 6 games of the season.
Yeah, it was the Thursday night game against the Rams. I think his follow through hit Aaron Donald's helmet or something like that, and he was never the same.
He was an MVP candidate that year. He was putting up unbelievable numbers. Right. It was him, Lamar. I remember. It was just he hurt his thumb. He was never the same quarterback, and he's not been the same quarterback. And I do believe with you, Sean, on what you're saying. I think he's a married man. He's all about the limelight. He's married to Ciara. He's got a bunch of kids now, and he's at the tail end now. I don't. Maybe he still thinks he has something left. We've seen Kurt Warner. We've seen him. He went to the Giants. It didn't work out over there. He started over Eli Manning for like a quarter of a season, and then Tom Coughlin, even with a winning record, they said, you know what? We're going to bring the young kid in. And then Kurt Warner was traded to the Arizona Cardinals, and look what the Arizona Cardinals did. They went all the way to the Super Bowl and then lost with one play, which usually happens in the Super Bowl, unless you watch some of these other boring ones. But that's
so basically, you're trying to say Russell should go to Arizona and compete with.
No, I didn't say that, because they have practically the same kind of quarterback with Kyler Murray there.
Right.
I mean, why would you bring in Russell Wilson when you have Kyler Murray, who's a better player? Honestly, he can run. Honestly,
he's always hurt, and Kyler Murray still hasn't proven that.
Well, he hurt it. He tore his ACL, and that's why he was out for practically half the season last year. But I think Kyler Murray this year is going to be a lot better. I do believe they're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I do. I believe that's where he's going. He's an explosive player.
A wide receiver is not going to help them. That's not the problem.
Oh, I think it was a huge part of the problem. Who was their weapon last year?
Trey McBride mostly is a good tight end, but they didn't have much.
They didn't have any weapons.
Not wide receiver. They didn't
and their defense actually played pretty well under Gannon.
Hey! Who does Patrick Mahomes have for receivers?
Who does Patrick Mahomes have?
Yeah.
Listen, we're not comparing Patrick Mahomes to Kyler Murray.
Hold on. Who does Lamar Jackson have as a receiver?
Zay Flowers.
Besides him.
Yeah, not much besides that.
There's Odell Beckham.
Beckham when he wants to show up.
He has Mark Andrews.
Well, yeah.
He has a good running game. Okay. He did. He had weapons. He did. Mark Andrews was hurt, and he's always hurt. But when he is healthy, he's the blanket for Lamar Jackson. If he's not the best tight end in the league when he's 100% healthy, he's the second or third. So you can argue that. Again, you look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson still has weapons. When you look at Russell Wilson this year, honestly, did he really have weapons? Judy is a complete bust from Alabama. I don't care what the PFF shows and how open he is. If he's so open, why hasn't he put up the numbers even without Russell Wilson? He couldn't do it. So maybe it's time for Mr. Judy to go on his way.
Yeah, they should trade him. Yeah, Sean, what are you saying?
He doesn't have a quarterback to get him the ball.
Really? Russell Wilson wasn't a quarterback that can get him the ball? 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He's not a good enough quarterback to get him the ball?
Oh, look at their record.
Their record has a lot to do with certain aspects of the game. Look at the defense in certain games. They didn't show up. They would sit there. It looked like they were scratching each other's asses on the sidelines. Okay, that's what they were doing. Maybe, the problem is when you look at a team, and Sean Payton can say whatever he wants. And I think Sean Payton will get this offense going as one of the top offenses in the league. One way or another, this offense will be good. It's going to take maybe a year or two. And if they give up a first-round draft pick to try, or 2 first rounds, or maybe even 3 first-round draft picks to jump to 2 or 1 to get Caleb Williams or May, it could be a big mistake. But again, if there's anybody that can figure out a young quarterback, and make him good, it's Sean Payton. So I do believe that. And I don't know much about Sean. Sean, you know him. And you've been on the sidelines with him. And you said he's not a player's coach. He's more of, a quiet guy that just wants to put up the numbers and do what he does best. And that's be the best offensive mind in the NFL. And when he is the best offensive mind in the NFL. But again, you look at the position right now with the Broncos and Russell Wilson. If I was the Broncos right now, I would just release him. I would pay the dead cap, which is what, $80-something million?
Yeah.
Just pay it, get rid of him, and move on. It's just not worth it. There's nothing that tells me that he's the guy that I'm going to ride with going into a new season with Sean Payton, which, by the way, the fans are not going to sit there with new ownership. They're not going to sit there and say, we're going to go into another season that is a losing season once again. Khalil Mack, ladies and gentlemen. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reports that Khalil Mack will be a name to watch at the trade rumors with the Chargers wanting to shed salary. Despite the $30 million salary cap increase across the NFL, the Chargers are still $25.6 million over the cap. Mack is entering his final year of his contract and has a cap hit of $38.5 million. Mack is one of 4 Chargers players with a cap hit over $30 million, including Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams. Mack had 17 sacks this season, a career high. Mack is 33 years old and entering his 11th NFL season from Buffalo. I'm going to say this. I love Khalil Mack. I think Khalil Mack still has enough in the tank. If we seen Von Miller get the contract that he got at 34 years old from the Buffalo Bills, why couldn't Khalil Mack get that kind of contract? And Buffalo might be the team to do it. Maybe they just decide to trade one of these guys or drop. Hey, maybe they could do this. Von Miller. I don't know what the cap hit is for Von Miller. And maybe they add a Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack is still one of the league's best pass rushers and can do so much for so many different teams. He's a veteran. Even if he had 11 sacks or 12 sacks this year with that kind of defense, with any of those defenses, maybe a Super Bowl contender. Don't be surprised if Jones gets traded, because they're going to franchise him. If Jones gets traded, that the Kansas City Chiefs make a run for a guy like Khalil Mack. It would make a lot of sense. You put Khalil Mack on one side, and then you have Karlaftis on the other side. You have 2 behemoths, guys that can get at the quarterback, put a lot of pressure on the opposite offensive lines. And I think that it would be a great fit. He wants to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, he's never won a Super Bowl. He had a chance that one year with the Bears, and they choked in the first round. Mm-hmm. Maybe because of their quarterback, or maybe the coaching. Oh, boy. By the way, that same coach is the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Carl's favorite coach, the great
Mr. Nagy. But right now, I'm not surprised that the Chargers are going to part ways with Khalil Mack. Shaq Barrett, obviously the Buccaneers parted ways just a few days ago with him. He's another big name that will be available this offseason. I don't know if he's that kind of player where you're going to have to pay him a lot of money, but he's still a fantastic talent. You put him at linebacker, you could put him on the defensive line. You can move him around the defensive line. He can still get at the quarterback, and he's won a Super Bowl with the Tom Brady Buccaneers. But Khalil Mack is still have a lot left in that tank. He does. And he can get at you. And I saw the Chargers this year. There was nothing to watch but Khalil Mack. Nothing. Their secondary is one of the worst secondaries I have ever seen. I'm telling you, I've seen some bad secondaries. That secondary, absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. I felt bad for Justin Herbert. I did. And they need to fix that offensive line this offseason. They need to. Now, there are stories coming out at number 5 that they'd be interested in Alt. If they decide to not draft Alt and maybe go after the Penn State kid or one of these other offensive linemen, or, hey, maybe they go after Bowers. Because a lot of people think that they're a team that, and something like Jim Harbaugh likes to do is use those big tight ends in his offense. Maybe he goes after a Bowers. I don't know. But what I will tell you, that Khalil Mack, when he becomes available, there will be at least 12 to 13 teams lining up for him. I think he's that good. I still think he could put up those numbers, and I think he can change a defense. Absolutely can change a defense.
Right, and you look at the track record for Khalil Mack in many different schemes. He's versatile enough where, because of his size, he's bigger than the average edge rusher. He could play as a 3-4 outside linebacker or a 4-3 defensive end. So any team should not be shying away for him just for that. Now, he's played mostly in a 3-4 his whole career, mostly, but he played in a 4-3 when he first got to the Chargers before they changed coordinators and Brandon Staley ruining that defense the way he did. And he played in a hybrid with the Raiders. So I think any team doing that is going to look at that trade market and say they could still get good value. Now, he's older, so they're probably not going to get a first-round pick, but I think they can get a second based on the year he had last year. 17 sacks is not a thing to shy away about, and now he's a hunter for his career, a future Hall of Famer, and a guy that's done well on so many different types of defenses. And an edge rusher is a premier position. That's why the Chargers are doing the right thing, even with Jim Harbaugh there and with new defensive coaching staff, trying to get the best value that they can.
They're not getting a second-round draft pick. They're not. He's 33 years old. They'll probably get a 3 or a 4. And Khalil Mack, here's another thing. The Lions are a team to definitely look at, too, because the Lions have $58 million right now going into the offseason. If they add another defensive player like that to their defense, that's going to help a lot of different youngsters that they have on that defensive line, including Hutchinson. So, and he can help Hutchinson develop too.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Khalil Mack would fit over there with the Lions. And again, the Lions need to fix that secondary. That's something that they have to look at in the offseason. As we all know, there's quite a few corners that have been dropped and waived by quite a few different teams over the last couple of days. So I believe that that's where they're going to go. And I think that's where they're going to go in the draft, as far as I'm concerned. And again, we were speaking about Kool-Aid, and he's a guy that a lot of people like. I know Sean said that he thinks that he's a top 10 pick. I think he falls out of the top 10 because of the offensive linemen that could be falling in the top 10 and the quarterbacks. And there are 3 wide receivers, fantastic wide receivers that everybody wants. So I don't think any of those guys are going to fall out of the top 10. So I could see Kool-Aid falling to 12, 13, maybe even 14. So the Lions are drafting, 24, 25? If the Lions are drafting 24, 25, why wouldn't they trade up and get somebody like Kool-Aid? Then you solidify your secondary. You put a youngster over there on one side, and then you bring in a veteran. Now you're going into the season now. You cleaned up your problem throughout the season in the secondary, and now you add a Khalil Mack, you add a piece here, you add a piece there, and then you're a Super Bowl contender.
Right, we saw them do that with Jameson Williams 2 years ago when they needed a wide receiver badly. So they won't be afraid to do it now when really the outside corner is really the only significant hole on that team. And Sean, the other rumor that's been interesting too, if the Chiefs don't bring back L'Jarius Sneed, he might be a Lion as well. They're very interested in him.
Well, they franchise tagged him.
Well, okay, but if they don't, they still could trade him though too, Sean. If they can't figure out the contract situation with Jones, or they let Jones go and then they'll pay him instead. There's a lot to figure out.
They're gonna franchise tag him, leave him on the tag, and pay Jones. Let Snead play and get a deal done before the year's over with.
But again, it's going to be competition still, and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are loving to explore every trade market. They have done it with a lot of veteran players in the past, really besides Mahomes, Kelsey, and some of the offensive linemen. They've done it, and Jones. They've done it with a lot of other players, so it wouldn't be surprising if they still tried it in theory. John Ferris also says Mack maybe to the Texans or the Lions, like you were saying, and John thinks he'll end up
maybe to the Texans. I can see him going to the Texans, but the thing is, with Mack, he had all those sacks this past season, but who's playing on the other side of him?
Bosa.
Okay, then I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, you don't think another team that's going to trade for him doesn't have another pass rusher to go with that? It's just the problem is the combined money. Bosa also has a huge cap hit. If there's another team with another young pass rusher like the Texans do with Will Anderson, why not put him alongside that and they can still be similar production level, even if one's.
But also didn't the cap go up?
Yes.
Yes.
The cap went up $30 million, which is the most in NFL history.
Yeah, well, that's
Exactly.
because
So
of the prime deal.
that's why teams are going to spend money regardless. It's going to be guys that we look at and be like, oh, why is this guy? They're going to get paid.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I think that with the $30 million now going to every single NFL team because of the prime deal, I think now these NFL teams are going to have to overpay one of these guys because they're going to say, well, it was $30 million free that's going into your pocket. What does it matter if you pay me $20 million? What does it matter if you pay me $22 million? I'm worth it. You're going to want me. And that's why I think a guy like Saquon Barkley is going to go out there, and now that he is going to be a free agent, say, okay, all I want is $16 million. I want to be one of the highest paid running backs in the league. Pay me a $16 million 3-year deal, and I'm yours, and I'm going to help you win a Super Bowl. And there are teams out there that need a weapon like Saquon Barkley. So I do believe with that money, is significant money that the NFL has given to every single NFL team, it's going to open up a trend of signings that you would say, why the hell did he get 17, 18 million? Who the hell is he? So that's the problem right now. But again, the Lions are sitting pretty right now because they have 57, 58 million, even with the $30 million that was added to it. I think that's added to the 58 million. So they're getting what, close to 80 million. So right now the Lions could say, you know what? I want him. I want him. I want him. I want him. And we still have $30 million under the cap. And we still could use that $30 million next year. And we're a contender because we had Khalil Mack, Snead, this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. Hey, well, you know what? We want Calvin Ridley. Let's reach out to Calvin Ridley's agent. We'll bring him in. We'll add him to the weapons we have in Williams and St. Brown and Laporta. We're a contender right there. So I think there are teams like the Lions that are licking their lips because they can't wait until the free agency frenzy opens up.
Yeah, that's really receiving depth and corner, just outside corner help, and maybe some linebacker is really the only thing they need. So they could do whatever they want. They could do free agent signings, the big splashes. They could do some kind of signing trades with players they think they could fit their system, get good value for them, try to rebirth these guys. Because I think Dan Campbell's earned that right as a coach. We've seen what he's doing with these other veteran wide receivers, with Josh Reynolds and DJ Chark over the years that have made it work. Even these random tight ends after they traded Hockenson before they drafted Laporta the year before, like making them work.
Look what they got back for Hockenson.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a lot back for Hockenson, and then they drafted Laporta. Who's better right now, Hockenson or Laporta?
I'd take Laporta. Yeah.
Laporta was an all-pro player. His
Laporta.
rookie season. How many? And tell me right now, in the last 20 years, how many tight ends in their rookie season became an all-pro player?
Mm-hmm.
How many? Could you give me one? Not George Kittle.
Not George Kittle. No, he was kind of a second half blossomer. Not even Gronk, because Gronk was tag teaming with
Travis
Aaron
Kelce.
Hernandez.
Was it Travis Kelce?
I don't even think so, because Travis Kelce, I think, really only broke out his next year because he was hurt much of his rookie season. So
there hasn't been. Sam Laporta is the first, I think, in the last 20 years as a rookie in his rookie season to become an all-pro player. That says a lot about who and what type of kid this guy is going to be in the NFL if he stays healthy. And by the way, he played with a hurt knee. I think it was a hurt knee or hurt ankle throughout the playoffs when he was sitting out.
Right.
He was wearing a boot every single week he wasn't on the field.
Yep.
So that says a lot about the kid, that he's going to go out there and play hurt. And by the way, he still put up the numbers. Even against San Francisco, he's the only one that showed up offensively in that game. What do you have, 90 yards in that game?
Yep. John Ferris also says a lot of great running backs out there. Barkley to Texans best fit and Henry to the Ravens best fit. John Suggs says Commanders have the most money at 79 million right now. Yeah, but the Commanders talent-wise are nowhere near the Lions.
Adam Schefter reports that none of the 5 top running backs eligible for a franchise tag will get them from any of their teams. Saquon, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, and Josh Jacobs will now enter free agency. The franchise tag for running backs would have been anywhere between 12 and 14 million, depending on the team. Henry was 8th in scrimmage yards and 2nd in rushing yards among running backs last season. Pollard was 10th in scrimmage yards, 12th in rushing yards among running backs last season. Both Saquon and Josh Jacobs had almost 1,000 rushing yards despite both missing 4 games, and Eckler had his lowest scrimmage yard total since becoming a full-time starter in 2020 with barely over 1,000 scrimmage yards. And by the way, Austin Eckler was a prime reason why the coach got fired. That he was the prime reason why that they have a new coach. That's why they have Jim Harbaugh there. And now I don't think Austin Eckler will be signing back with the Chargers. I think there are quite a few teams that might be interested in him. I do believe the Cowboys will be interested in Austin Eckler because you're not going to have to overpay for him. I do believe that the Cowboys will be interested in Saquon Barkley. Why? Because he plays in the division and he knows how to play against those big top-end teams in their division, like the Cowboys, like the Giants, like the Washington Commanders, and like the Eagles. So the Eagles, the Cowboys, all of those, even Washington will probably be interested in Saquon Barkley because he's been in that division all these years. But Derrick Henry's an interesting one, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Because Derrick Henry's still a beast. He's still a man-child. It takes him usually 7 to 8 games to get his feet, under him. But once he figures it out, Derrick Henry is a beast. He runs and plows right through people. Do I think Derrick Henry has another 2 good years in the NFL? Absolutely. I don't give him a third-year option. I maybe give him a team option, but you give Derrick Henry $14 million or $12 million, let him roll with that. If you're the Giants, you don't want to bring back Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry is a great consolation prize.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that the running back seems like the missing piece if they already have a dynamic passing attack that's going to be targeted. The other team I would look for if they could figure out their quarterback and receiver situation and still have money left could be the Vikings too. Definitely need a running game after losing Dalvin Cook. They broke out with Ty Chandler like the last month of the season, but besides that, they had no running game all year. I think that could be a fit for Eckler because I don't think Eckler's going to get as much money because he had a down year for his standards. Again, not all his fault. The Chargers had all the offensive line injuries, and they had the great Kellen Moore coaching him. But nevertheless, he's going to be the one that gets hit the hardest because he still wasn't as productive as usual, and he's undersized. But like you said, Derrick Henry will still get his probably on a shorter deal. Saquon will definitely get his. 14 at least, maybe more. And Tony Pollard's an interesting one too because he's a very good pass catching back, but not the same pure runner. So I don't know what he'll.
The best one out of all of them is Josh Jacobs.
Go ahead. Who's the best one? Who you said?
I think Josh Jacobs is the best one out of all of them.
I'm gonna go Derrick Henry. I feel like Derrick Henry still got something left in the tank.
Oh, I do too.
For a 2-year deal, I think, like he's saying, I think that'll make.
I do too.
Sense.
I do. But Josh Jacobs is the youngest one out of all of them. He's 25 years old. Josh Jacobs was pretty much thrown to the wolves. I do believe that many teams should be looking at Josh Jacobs. He could be a game changer. Yep. He can change everything. Now, I'm not saying Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry can't be that kind of game changer, but because of Josh Jacobs' age, and by the way, yes, he was injured for the last year. I mean, the first 3 years he was in the league, he was pretty damn good. I mean, he still put up those numbers.
He put up good numbers. He put up good numbers his first few years in the league. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that. But as you know, as a running back, once you get hurt, it's hard to bounce back. It's hard. It's hard. And some guys do and some guys don't. It's just a matter of how good are you going to be after that injury, and a team to feel like, even though he's young, it's a matter of a team believing in him at the end of the day, feeling like he's worth somebody at the scouting department beating the table for him and say, oh, we got it. He's a difference maker. He's going to help us get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And again, when you look at, I think the 3 top ones out of all of these guys, and I like Austin Eckler. I thought he's so efficient. He's been efficient for 5 years. The problem with him is his size. And he's been beaten up.
And it's hurt.
I mean,
he's hurt. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
Trust me, he's hurt.
He's a nice kid. We've been trying to get him on a show. He's been on a couple of other shows that I've seen, and I like Austin. I think Austin has a good personality. I think he stands by what he believes as a player, but he's not Saquon Barkley. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Josh Jacobs. I'm not surprised.
No, because Saquon even bounced back from his
his ACL
injury.
Yeah.
Yes. So did your guy,
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall, yes.
Yeah.
And we'll see Breece with a full season this year. We'll see how he is, but he's not a free agent. Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs, those are the 3 big names on those lists. And there are going to be at least probably 10 teams interested in all 3 of them. Because if you look at some of the teams that are looking for that offensive weapon in the backfield, I mean, the Cowboys now losing Tony Pollard, I think Saquon would be perfect over there. I do believe that Josh Jacobs could be perfect over there. I also see the Eagles.
What about the Patriots?
Another team. Yep.
What about the Patriots?
The Patriots don't need that.
Yeah, they need to focus more on their passing game right now.
Yeah, they have good running backs. They have running backs that they can depend on. Forever, every single year, the Patriots have a good running game. And before Mr. Belichick decided to part ways with the organization, he left them a pretty good running back. So it's not, Stevenson is a really good running back. So it's not like they don't have anything that they can move forward with. And Stevenson is 24 years old?
Yeah, I think he's entering his 4th year.
So they still have Stevenson there, and they still have a running game. I just think when you look at Josh Jacobs, he wants to go somewhere where he could be the number 1. And Miami, Mostert, who has 1 more year left in his contract, they're not going to be looking for a running back. Buffalo might be, but James Cook had a very good year. So are they going to decide, hey, you know what? Well, let's go after Saquon. Let's go after Derrick Henry. But maybe they need that. Maybe they need that guy, that number 1 guy, and maybe make James Cook the number 2 guy, the speed demon in the backfield. So there are teams that are going to be looking for that availability. Also, Tennessee. They're going to be looking for a running back, losing Derrick Henry.
I also would not rule out, even though Rashad White had a nice year, I wouldn't rule out the Buccaneers.
How about the Texans?
Definitely going to be in on it. I think the Texans are definitely going to get one of them. Like you said, the Cowboys and Eagles will probably get one of them. I also wouldn't rule out the Buccaneers. Rashad White did well last year, but I think as a pure runner perspective, they could definitely use a second guy, and that's a contending team if they can figure out Baker and Mike Evans.
It's so interesting when you look at the combine and everybody's trying to compare and look at some of the running backs, because last year we saw Bijan Robinson come out of there. We've seen all these different young running backs get drafted so early. Zeke, one of them. Saquon, another one. Now, Bijan Robinson was a low pick. He was an early pick. And what happened to him? These guys were first-round draft talent. And why? Because you can use them as a wide receiver / running back. That's what the position is transitioning into now. There is no more.
The position is called it's just called a scat back.
Yeah. It's a scat back.
Mm-hmm. Which is why Austin Eckler still has value, even in a kind of inefficient year for him, because other teams that have already good prolific.
Are you paying Austin Eckler $10 million?
It depends on the team. I would consider it if I were a team like the Vikings. Like I said, I think that's a good fit for them.
I can see him going to Denver.
No, I think the Broncos are going to focus more on other things.
It's interesting with the Broncos. It's interesting because the Broncos this year, they're expected to make the playoffs this year. If they don't make the playoffs this year, one more year of Sean Payton could be the last year for Sean Payton, because they're parting ways with Russell Wilson. They overpaid for him, and now Sean wasn't there. Now all of a sudden you're going into the offseason. Now you got to find a quarterback. You got to find a quarterback in this class, and then hope he shows some kind of promise this year going into his second year. And if he doesn't, well, Sean Payton could be waving goodbye to the Broncos organization in his third year of his existence over there with the Denver Broncos. This isn't Drew Brees. He didn't inherit Drew Brees.
But do you think he even cares? At the end of the day, I doubt he cares. You know why? Because he can go back to being an analyst.
Yeah, he could be an analyst, but here's the thing. John Gruden, remember him? I mean, John Gruden got screwed by the NFL. We all know the whole story behind it. And now he's looking to get that coaching job. He was looking at colleges this year. He was up for a college coaching position, I think, twice this offseason, and never got one of them. Never even got a sniff. I don't even think he was runner-up. Why?
Sometimes I don't think he really wanted no college job. It's just he's too much for college. College is not ready for him.
I think so too. But he's trying to prove, he's trying to prove his worth. So maybe one of these NFL teams look at him and say, you know what, we'll bring you in as a coach, an assistant coach on the sidelines, and prove that you can change your quote unquote ways, when he did nothing wrong, by the way. Well, he did something wrong.
He did something wrong, but it wasn't the only thing.
No, I'm saying he did something wrong, but those emails should have never came out.
Right.
Those emails were not supposed to come out.
I'm about to start questioning you, man.
Why?
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. You said, oh, he didn't do nothing wrong.
That's not what I meant. And you know what I meant. What I meant was is how it came out. It was never supposed to come out. Where are all the other emails? Where did all those go? There were 100 guys on those emails. Where did all the other ones go? Where was Roger Goodell?
They wasn't high profile as
Really?
Roger Goodell's not as high profile as
Roger Goodell isn't high profiled?
No, you can't consider Roger Goodell. He's high profile, but you can't consider anything about him because you know why?
Why?
He's the commissioner.
How about
the mob, baby.
How about how many
like
owners were? There were so many executives on that email. Executives, team owners were on those emails. Where were they?
And guess what? And who runs the league?
Yeah.
Yeah, and who likes to cover up for those owners? Roger Goodell, which also could be a form of corruption.
Yeah, it's been a form of corruption ever since CTE.
Hey, you guys said it. I'm just stating the points and the facts, the situation.
You know how I'm going to help Sean out. Every time Sean stutters, you know he's trying to find his words where he doesn't throw himself under the bus.
No, I don't want to. First of all, it's not even throwing myself under the bus because I'm still part of the NFL shield.
Of course, yes.
So I have to watch what I say because of my benefits and different types of stuff that I get. So I mean, because normally everybody know I'm like, F it, I don't care. I mean, it's out there. The fact is, the proof is in the pudding that there's certain things about the NFL that's not fair, and it's just what it is. It'll never change, I don't think. It's just like the world with prayer. When I don't get it, and not to get off topic or anything, I don't ever talk about politics because
No.
it's always a system to everything. I feel like it's a loophole in any system, in anything you do, anything. It's a loophole in coaching. It's a loophole in the NFL. There's a loophole on every NFL team right now. There's somebody, because guess what? There's always, when you said, it's funny you said the leak, there's always a leak in everybody building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, again, we're here in New York. So what happened with the Giants a couple of years ago with Brown? Yeah, that thing leaked out pretty quick. And the NFL was trying to hide it. The Giants were trying to hide it. He was abusive to his wife. The Giants kept him on the roster. And then what happened? It leaked even more by the press. Somebody in the locker room or somebody up there.
But only time a story get leaked is when they do somebody, an employee, wrong at the company.
Probably.
A lot of them are like
that.
It's
the truth. Now, that's the truth I can stand on.
But a lot of them are like that, but even still with the players, like they have just inconsistent values of it all. Like what Josh Brown did once it came out was worse than what Ray Rice did. But Ray Rice had it was a much bigger deal to the end.
And it was pretty pathetic how the Giants kind of threw it under the rug.
It was really pathetic.
Mara, who is very well respected around the league, and so is the Tisch family. They're as respected as the Rooneys are.
Yep.
And they're the organization that threw it on the rug. That's something that the Jets would do. But that's not something the Giants would have done.
And it's not something the Giants did in the past with Mara's father either.
I'm just saying, I mean, I've been a Jet fan for years, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. We've been a clown show throughout the league over the last 12, 13, 14 years we've been. And actually longer than that, really since Bill Parcells. I mean, because what Rex Ryan did was bring back the New York Jets as a winning organization. But guess what he also brought? He brought that clown show. He brought that locker room stuff where he's dancing around, wearing wigs, talking to the press, we're getting tattoos of his quarterback on his leg. I mean, that didn't help the Jets either when he came out. And by the way, tried to throw that under the bus too. I mean, seriously.
And then he tried to decorate the Giants locker room like Brandon Jacobs said.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. New Raiders general manager Tom Telesco said in his press conference that Davante Adams won't be traded. Adams said during the Super Bowl week that he is excited to work with the new offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, who was he was in Green Bay with him. He also mentioned that he is supportive of the Raiders' decision to bring back Antonio Pierce as the new head coach. Telesco served as general manager for the Chargers in 2013 until last season and has given multiple big contracts to Keenan Allen as well as Mike Williams, over $20 million per year. Adams has a $25.3 million cap hit next season, but a $44.1 million cap hit each of the next two seasons. The Jets were very interested in trading for Davante Adams at the trade deadline last season. Adams had 103 catches for 1,144 yards and 8 touchdowns last season. Davante Adams is getting traded. I don't care what Telesco is saying. And I understand he likes Antonio Pierce. I like Antonio Pierce. I don't play for Antonio Pierce. I was happy that the Raiders gave Antonio Pierce a chance. But here's the thing. If Antonio Pierce goes 0-4 or 0-5 early this season, he's going to be out. Because there are quite a few coaches that didn't get hired this offseason that are going to be available. And Antonio Pierce is going to have to go full throttle this season if he has any chance of surviving through that season. So I question the whole Telesco thing. And by the way, he comes from the Chargers, okay? How many wins and how many championships have the Chargers won since 2013? Absolutely nada, okay? How many playoff runs has this organization had in the last 11 years?
They've won 2 playoff games.
I rest my case. Why am I going to listen to Telesco? Was he one of the reasons why they hired their last coach? Let's be honest. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Davante Adams is going to stay here. Because right now, they want 2 first-round draft picks for Davante. Davante is going to be 32 at the beginning of the season. There's no way they're getting 2 first round. They're not even getting a first for him. You could get a second and a third, I could see them getting something like that, or 2 seconds.
I don't even see that. I see a third, not a second.
He'll get a second.
Just because
the contract.
Just because I was just saying because of the contract. Well, yeah. I don't know. It just sometimes just depends on the organization too, though.
It's crazy, and I understand why Telesco is saying that, because he wants to make sure he can get as much as he possibly can for Davante Adams if he does become available. He's not going to just go out there at the combine or go out there before the combine press conferences and say, "Hey, Davante Adams is up and he's ready to be traded. Any buyers out there? Any buyers out there?" He's not going to do that. He's going to wait until free agency, and he's going to realize, hey, you know what? I think we could get something back, something high back for Davante Adams. Maybe we can trick the Jets and get other teams involved in Davante Adams, and maybe get pry a future first from him, or pry a future second from him. And I could see that happening, because the Jets don't have a second-round draft pick this year. But, hey, next year they do. So maybe they say, okay, you want Davante Adams? Well, we want a third this year, and we want a second next year. And knowing the Jets, because of Aaron Rodgers, why wouldn't the Jets do that? They need a number 2 guy, and that's what the Jets are going to be looking at this offseason, as they dropped Laken Tomlinson. Why did they do that? They dropped Laken Tomlinson because they're trying to open up cap room. They have $30 million right there from the prime contract, but they're also looking to shed contracts. And now you're hearing that Bryce Huff might only be worth, they might only have to pay him $12 to $14 million a year, which is the deal that I'm hearing. So you give Bryce Huff a 3-year, a 4-year, $13, $14 million contract with incentives. I think Bryce Huff signs it. And the Jets still have a load of money to bring back Michael Carter and bring back a wide receiver and some offensive line help, which, by the way, they're going to need desperately.
Yeah, and you look at the situation for the Raiders, like they're kind of in that weird boat of they might have the salary cap space, but they don't have a lot of the things that'll help Davante Adams want to stay there. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Raiders address their quarterback situation either in free agency or during the draft, or they want to be one of those teams that could trade up if they want to get one of those flashy quarterbacks. Because again, they have some of the draft picks there, but it's not an insane amount, and they need that organization changer at the quarterback position after what they did to Derek Carr, just that really bad ending to Josh McDaniels, all his crap. And are they looking for that new change of direction at quarterback? And is that something that Davante Adams is going to stay by? Because I think he does like the organization and he likes the
Who's throwing him the ball?
That's the question. Because Derek Carr was the big reason Davante Adams wanted to go over there. He's from that Fresno State football team in 2013, played together with him in college. And again, in that similar area, southern part of the Western Coast. That's the big reason, and along with Las Vegas, he wanted to stay there. But this organization kind of ruined so many different things for Davante Adams and ruined so many things for everyone else that now the talent around him is not good at all. And Josh Jacobs is gone now. Darren Waller's now gone now, and Derek Carr. So are they going to solve that overnight? It's going to be a big reason if it's going to be a big incentive for Davante.
What
Adams
are their weapons if Davante Adams goes?
Jacoby Myers.
I mean, Jacoby Myers. Are you going to? And listen, they have a good young tight end they drafted in the second round last year from Notre Dame. And right from Notre Dame, Mayor. And so they have some youngsters, but they're going to need guys like Davante Adams, like Josh Jacobs, who now is going to be available. So where do they go now going into the offseason? Are they going to trust that they're going to get a lot back from Davante Adams if they do put him on the trade block? And I do believe he'll be put on the trade block once free agency opens up, because there are only like 4 wide receivers that are available right now. We were talking about Michael Pittman. He's one guy that a lot of people believe will be available. Calvin Ridley is going to be available, because there was no way that the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to hold on to him, because they would have had to give up a second-round draft pick. So there's a lot of things looking at where the Raiders are, where they have a guy that they can get something back for, because there is nothing else out there. Brandon Ayuk is probably signing back with the 49ers. After the $30 million that they're getting from the prime deal, I think they're going to take that $30 million and they're going to invest it in Brandon Ayuk. And I know, Sean, we were talking about that last week, that you said he's going nowhere. Now with that $30 million, I thought it was going to be somewhere around 15, 16 million. Now you're hearing it's going to be double that.
Yep.
They could just take that money, flip it right into Brandon Ayuk, and I think that's where they're going to go.
The Raiders have
Oh,
43
not the
million
ladybug. Not the ladybug. Not the ladybug.
Yes, the ladybug.
Yes, the ladybug, Sean.
Yes.
Oh,
But
okay. I'm just making sure. You guys said something about the ladybug, and the ladybug was gonna help them win the Super Bowl, but it didn't.
no, he was shut down in that game.
First of all, I did not think Brandon Ayuk was going to have a good game. I never said that. I thought the other
Run the tape back
Samuel.
because you said he was gonna be the X factor.
No, I did not.
An X factor does not mean the best player, though. Like if he plays well,
I said I thought Deebo Samuel was going to be the guy in that game that was going to be. I thought he was going to be the explosive guy for that team that game, and we all know what Christian McCaffrey was going to do in the Super Bowl. I expected Christian McCaffrey to show up and put up the numbers, but I also said in the second half what Kyle Shanahan was going to do, and I was right about that. And I've been saying that over and over and over again. Now everybody, after the whole factor, now everybody's talking about. Speedy, am I wrong? I've been saying this for years. Kyle Shanahan can't win the big game. What's he do in the second half is he stops running the ball. And what did I do? What did he do in that game? He stopped running the ball. I've said this over and over and over again. So you could say whatever I said or what I said. This guy was the X factor. I also told you guys what was going to happen, and it happened.
So there's also a difference in the term X factor and the best player in the game. Like if Brandon Ayuk were to play above his standards for having being guarded by McDuffie or being guarded by Snead, which is going to be a tough matchup anyway, then the Niners probably win if he has something like 70 yards receiving or a touchdown, like something like that. Then the Niners win that game.
I hear you, Speedy. Okay, I hear you, Speedy.
He hears you, but he doesn't hear me. It's like he's.
He heard you talking about the Jets and going into the.
I didn't mention the Jets. I did not.
That's at the beginning of the show.
I didn't mention the Jets on any conversation with the 49ers. I never said.
No, you didn't.
So I don't know why you bring it up.
I just want to let you know I know how to do math, and you have said JETS a lot.
How many times have you spoken about your Kansas City Chiefs? Let's count how many times you have done that. Okay,
we didn't make a bet about that though. So that's the thing.
I'm sorry, your Kansas City Chiefs. Well, how many years did you play for them? You should be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals.
No, I don't care about that. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to. Hey, people don't talk about where you was at in the middle. They talk about where you start and where you finish.
Oh yeah.
And did you start with the Bengals?
Nope. I started with the Dallas Cowboys. See?
Oh, the Dallas Cowboys.
And what did you finish with?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes. And how long were you there?
2 years.
Okay. How long were you with Cincinnati?
4.
There you go. I'm just trying to help you here.
Oh, I know how to do the math. I go back to Cincinnati.
I'm just wondering. I mean, Roger Goodell brushing everything under the rug about CTE. Maybe.
Hey, Sean was also part of the 2007 Browns.
I don't care. I just need them to give me my concussion money.
Yeah, true. Are they going to give that to you?
I don't know. I need to probably have me a better lawyer or something. I don't know.
That should be number one priority to all those former players that are expecting it. So
yeah, once they do get your concussion money, Sean, you could afford a better lawyer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And going back to this Tom Telesco thing with the Davante Adams thing, I think Davante Adams is, if he becomes available, he's the best wide receiver available. From Brandon Ayuk, Calvin Ridley, Michael Pittman, whoever's available, Mike Evans, all of them. The best one is Davante Adams. The only thing is, all those other guys that I mentioned, you're not going to have to give up draft stock for any of them if they become available in free agency. If they, Brandon Ayuk, if he doesn't get signed by the 49ers, he's a restricted free agent. He could go wherever he wants, and you don't have to give up any draft stock for him. Davante Adams, you're taking a chance, and who's to say Davante Adams isn't at the tail end of his career? We've seen this. Julio Jones at 32 years old, his 32nd birthday, he was a shell of himself. Now, Julio Jones had a lot of leg problems over the years, and he was beaten up. Davante Adams hasn't been as hurt as Julio Jones over the years, but Davante Adams has been in the league for 11 years? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's
same draft as Mike Evans.
Yeah, he's been beaten up. So I don't know if he's worth whatever you're going to have to give up to get him or land him. And again, going back to Tom Telesco, it is not going to happen. They're not keeping Davante Adams. They're not going to do that. They're rebuilding. That's what they're doing. They're rebuilding. Antonio, and that's why maybe Antonio Pierce is somebody that if he has a decent season, he wins 7 games with this team or 8 games with this team with no talent around him. I could see Antonio Pierce being there for a while. I could see him there for 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years. But if he starts the season, even if they don't have Davante Adams, he starts the season where he's 0-5, 0-6, they're getting rid of him. There's not a chance. This is his chance to prove himself. And I think Davis did this because he wasn't going to bring in a Bill Belichick. He wasn't going to bring in any of these high-profile names because he knew that going into this season, they're rebuilding.
We also look at the pattern of teams trying to bring in wide receivers to help out young quarterbacks. And a lot of those kinds of scenarios could exist if the Raiders don't go for a young quarterback themselves. Now, if the Raiders are trying to trade up and they're trying to get one of those big name young quarterbacks, don't trade Davante Adams, because then you're going to leave that quarterback with practically nothing. And you saw what happened when Daniel Jones had to deal with that, with Bryce Young this year with the Panthers, where we really only had Adam Thielen. It was very hard for these types of quarterbacks to develop that way. But if they don't plan on doing that, they just plan on going to sign a veteran or something like that, then you could consider trading that to one of those teams that could draft a quarterback. Maybe Washington, maybe a team like Tennessee would help out Will Levis. They have a lot of cap space as well. And maybe a team like the Bears, if they do keep the number 1 pick, they could just trade some second-round picks. And even if they keep Fields or get Caleb Williams, somebody help out with that. That has a lot of cap space. They need that kind of thing.
NFL insider Dove Kleiman and Pioneer Press chief editor Charlie Walters said that the Vikings could make Justin Fields available for a trade before free agency. Both the Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell and general manager Kwesi Adolf Menesa, whatever his name is, said that trading Justin Jefferson never crossed their mind. Spotrac projects Jefferson to receive 4 years, $117 million deal, $29.6 million per year. Sports Illustrated reports that Jefferson will seek a deal close to $35 million per year with a new increase in salary cap space. Other reports say that Kirk Cousins, who originally wanted $45 million per year to stay with the Vikings, could get $50 million per year if he hits free agency. In 10 games last season, Jefferson had 68 catches for 1,074 yards and 5 touchdowns. Jefferson had 382 catches for 5,899 receiving yards and 30 touchdowns in 4 NFL seasons. And right now he's in the trajectory to break, yes, you heard it, Jerry Rice's records. So I don't think he's going to do that because Jerry Rice played for 20 years, and for like 17 years, he had over 1,000 yards. I mean, it's kind of hard to put up those numbers for 17, 18 seasons. I do not believe Jefferson's going to be able to hold up and play 17 years to break Jerry Rice's records.
You said it's hard to put up those numbers, right? You said it's hard to put up those numbers,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Consistent. Oh, okay. I'm just saying because you were just talking about LeBron earlier, so
I'm going to tell you, we'll get into the whole LeBron James thing. Don't worry.
No, I
got my own thoughts.
I thought it just came in my head when you said that. So
yeah. Don't worry. Basketball and football are 2 different sports, buddy. 2 different sports.
No, it's more. It's 2 different sports, but it's more wear and tear on your body in what? Football or basketball?
Football.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, it's football and basketball. They all have knee and ankle problems. I have to give LeBron James credit; he's kept those things healthy. But again, I'm not getting into LeBron James. I want to get into the whole Justin Jefferson thing. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in football. I know everybody wants to complain or argue that Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase or any of these guys, you can name it, St. Brown, any one of these guys, you name it.
So he's better than CeeDee Lamb?
I'm sorry?
He's better than CeeDee Lamb?
Yes.
When healthy, he is.
100%. 100%. And I love CeeDee Lamb. He's better than CeeDee Lamb. No doubt about it.
So my question is it a question mark to his name because he can't stay healthy?
Jefferson, this is the first year he got hurt. He's been healthy besides
that. I'm saying, like, is it okay we're giving him a pass because he got hurt? If he didn't get hurt, it'll be a different situation.
No,
That's
he's
what we're saying,
1,600
right?
yards.
He's still going to get Jefferson is still going to make between 28 and 30 million dollars. I don't think he's getting 35 million. If he does get 35 million, it won't be from the Vikings. No. I don't believe it.
Gotcha.
Now there'll be other teams. There are other teams that will line up for a guy as good as Justin Jefferson. I mean, there are teams that have a lot of money. We just mentioned one of them, the Lions. Could you imagine if Justin Jefferson became available and the Giants? I mean, not the Giants. The Lions could, even the Giants too. Another team that are looking for a weapon like Justin Jefferson.
They'll probably have to pay him 35 if they want to get him.
They would. They would do that. They would do that. Because they could trade that pick. They could trade the first-round draft pick at number 6 and trade next year's first-round draft pick. They'll absolutely do that for a guy that could absolutely change their roster and change their offense. And he'll make Daniel Jones look great. Yep. He will make Daniel Jones look like as good as Patrick Mahomes if you have a guy like Justin Jefferson. Look at Kirk Cousins' numbers last year.
Mm-hmm. Last 2 years have been really good.
Look at his numbers. I mean, I'm not saying Kirk Cousins isn't a great quarterback.
I'm not taking that from Kirk. I'm not saying, but if he doesn't have a quarterback, what's going to happen? He's still going to get those yards.
And that's why I think Justin Jefferson. I think, and you're absolutely right, and that's why I think going into this offseason when free agency opens up, I just mentioned Davante Adams. Don't be surprised if you see this guy, Justin Jefferson, on, and he's not a guy that speaks about his contracts.
Yeah, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't really do that, but. We thought that about Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill for like the first 4 years really never mentioned anything about contracts. And I said, Tyreek Hill doesn't really speak. He just thinks he's a cheetah and he thinks he's as fast as one.
And he likes to have arguments with boat employees.
And then once we heard, but that was when he was with Miami. But when he was traded to Miami. But to me, when Tyreek Hill was looking for that big contract, what did he do? He asked to be traded. And I think the same thing. And You heard Tyreek Hill this year after Kansas City won the Super Bowl. He says he wished he was playing in the Super Bowl. He wished he was playing with the Kansas City Chiefs. He came out and said that.
Yeah, maybe you should have played better against them.
Yeah, that or you should have just took the contract we offered.
The fact is that he didn't. He wanted the money. And I think that's what a lot of these young players are going to do. I mean, Justin Jefferson's making a lot of contract. I mean, he's making a lot of advertisement money. We've seen him on how many commercials over the last
place, though.
I mean, the pizza place. He's been on an NFL commercial. He was on a shaving commercial. He was on a State Farms commercial. He's on a lot of commercials. He's making the money. But he's also looking at his career and how many years does he have where he's at the top of his game? He's what? He's been in the league for 4 years. Maybe he has another 6 years left where he's at the top of his game. He wants to make his money now. And being that the wide receivers are making that kind of money, Deebo Samuel making the money, he's making $30 million. You have Tyreek Hill making $30 million. Davante Adams making $28 million. All these guys making all this money. And he says, I'm better than them. I'm better than all of them.
6,000 yards in almost 4 years, pretty much.
So why shouldn't I be making that money? And that's what he's saying. And if I was him, and I know you would be the same way, Sean, if you were the best, let's say you played the defensive line. You were the best defensive lineman in the league. Let's say, I'm just saying, Brian Urlacher, right? Brian Urlacher, defensive lineman, AK linebacker. And he just gets a 22, or at that time, it's like $14, $15 million contract. Okay. And you're sitting there and you have maybe one less sack than him, one more, 5 more or less rushes at the quarterback. And you're saying, okay, I'm a free agent next year. That guy is making 16, 17 million a year. And I'm making right now pennies. I want that kind of contract. And I'm putting up those numbers. What are you going to say, Sean? You're going to say, I want that money, right? Pay me.
Yeah, you want the money. Show me the money.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire, show me the money.
Show me my favorite movie, man. My favorite movie. And I'm going to tell you this right now. That's what Jefferson's going to do. Even though he's not one of those guys that are going to do those kind of things on and off the field, he's going to do it. As he came out after the season when he was sticking up for Kirk Cousins, saying that he wants Kirk Cousins to be back there. As soon as he found out that Kirk Cousins wants $45-50 million a year and it's going to go into his money, he said, you know what? I'll play with anybody. Just pay me. You know what I mean? So It's all about the money. And you know this, Sean. It is. It's all about the money. What are you paying me? What have you paid? Just like, what have you done for me lately? What are you paying for me lately?
Keith says in the comment section, no way the Vikings let Jefferson go. He's the best.
We'll see.
And John Suggs is a question for you, Sean. How is Chad Ochocinco on and off the field?
I mean, Chad, shit, you see, he put me on Mount Rushmore with him as one of the best teammates to have. So that tells you enough right there. Chad's a good. Chad was one of the hardest working wide receivers I know. Always, he wants the ball every time, but he works hard, runs routes, whether it's a run or pass. You know, people get caught up in his silliness, but that's him. That's just really Chad. Like, even when he goes live, you know, he always shouts me out. It's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. Got the same birthday as my mom, too, so they're kind of cool.
Did you suck his thumb like he sucked his thumb?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he didn't share his thumb with you?
Maybe. No, that's not my speed, my guy. On the East Coast, we don't suck thumbs. That's a South thing, I think, you know?
Is that why you moved down south?
Nah, that's not why I moved down south. No. Hey, they say you like to hang. They say you like to hang in the village, my guy. So I don't know.
Is that what they said? Wow. Who's telling you that? Whoever you're hanging out with, I don't know. I don't know who hangs out with me at the village. I don't go to the village.
Hey, that's a Speedy tell. I'm going out with Speedy.
Speedy doesn't even know what the village is.
I know it's a disco group that sings YMCA. That's about it. John has another question for you, Sean. Thoughts on the Chiefs cutting Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
He sucks.
He didn't do nothing, and except for the one catch we needed him. But other than that, hey, came from Green Bay, and you know.
Oh, there it is. There it is. He came from Green Bay. That's why he sucks. Well, wait a second. If you want to go back there, you came from the Bengals when you went to Kansas City, buddy.
Hey, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying he came from Green Bay. It's different. Kansas City's different from Green Bay, just the way they run things and everything. So some guys dwell in certain systems, and some guys just don't. You know, some guys also are just like one-hit wonders. Have a good year, the next thing you know, you don't hear nothing from them.
Well, you're right about that. There's a lot of one-hit wonders in the NFL. There's a lot of one-hit wonders in multiple sports. So
and in the music game, it's one-hit wonders. So,
oh, dude, I got a bunch of them. I got a whole CD of them.
The best of one-hit wonders,
dude. There's so many of the King of Wishful Thinking. I mean, you know that song.
That's your nickname.
That's a one-hit wonder. I mean, seriously. I mean, you could find them. I mean, Mr. Big, he's another one.
That's right.
You know, so I can.
Errol's two favorite songs.
No, I have two favorite songs. They're two songs that I like, but I like a lot of music. I'm a DJ, so I'm open for all music, all genres: hip hop, R&B, rock, heavy metal. I listen to everything: classical music, whatever works. House, techno, EDM, everything. So I love it all. But going back to the Jefferson thing, I think I don't know if he's going to become available. There are questions to it. And I agree with Keith. If you look at Jefferson, why would the Vikings get rid of their best player? Why would they say sayonara? It's all about money right now. That's really the position that they're in. And do they pay Justin Jefferson or take that money and invest it into two players and trade Justin Jefferson for 2 first-round draft picks and rebuild your team? Because they're in a rebuilding stage now. I don't care what Kevin O'Connell. I don't know how long Kevin O'Connell's going to be there. If he has another season like he did this year, he's probably not going to be there next year.
Yeah, and we've seen the Vikings front office change a lot since Kwesi has gotten there too, where he's trying to build it in the mold of the Browns. Like you have a couple big contracts, but you fill in the rest of the pieces nicely. And I think that's what the Vikings are trying to do, not only on defense, but also on the offensive line, and now maybe with the wide receivers too. And I think that's why they're going to pay Jefferson because of that. They drafted Addison last year, they filled in nicely, but they let go of Adam Thielen. They traded for TJ Hawkins and gave him a contract, but they didn't pay a lot of their other offensive linemen. And they're doing that with the defense. They're going to let go of Neil Hunter. They already let go of Eric Kendricks, who's a great linebacker in that Zimmer system. Anthony Barr was already gone from them too. And they're probably going to lose Harrison Smith. but they're filling in with that young defense really nicely with Brian Flores there. So I think they're going to trust that approach, pay Jefferson, pay Cousins, and then they'll just try to fill in with the rest of the draft picks. The draft picks since Quessy's took over as a GM have been pretty good for the Vikings.
At 9 o'clock, we'll be talking to former Twins, Cubs, Marlins, and Tigers outfielder Jacque Jones. If you don't know who he plays for, he had a sensational career with the Twins. He really did. He was a great player with the Twins. Well, I'm sorry? Sean, what did you say? Did he say something? I don't know.
I didn't say that.
All right. At 9:30, we'll be talking to NFL Draft Lounge analyst, consultant John Vogel. He will be joining us as well. So we'll get into the combine. This is one of our experts. He knows what he's doing. And he knows when you look at Mel Kiper and all these other guys, John Vogel last year, if you look at his the way he drafted and the way he put his draft board up, he was dead on with some of the drafts. So John will be joining us a little bit later in the show. Johnny Manziel spoke out about his post-NFL career on Shannon Sharpe's podcast last week, saying he went on a strict diet of blow after being cut by the Browns in 2016. Manziel said after he was cut, he had no plans in making a return with another team and started partying more than he should have. Manziel lost 40 pounds after he was cut, going from around 210 pounds when he was playing to 170 pounds about 6 months later. Manziel had several off-the-field instances with the Browns in his first 2 seasons, including a questionable bathroom photo where it looked like he was rolling a joint. He also missed the Browns' regular season finale in 2015, taking a trip to Las Vegas. Manziel is now 31 years old and says his partying days are behind him. And I will say this. Johnny Manziel, if he didn't have the bipolar disorder, and they figured this out a little bit early in his college career, I believe Johnny Manziel could have went down as one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a very long time. We look at all the talented quarterbacks that came out of college, even Caleb Williams. Everybody keeps saying, oh, I heard Ryan Hickey. I'm going to give Ryan Hickey a shout out, okay? Because after he posted this up, it got a lot of hits on Twitter, okay? And people were tweeting to him. And I said to him when I heard this, I said, you're on drugs. He said that the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Bills should look at trading Josh Allen. Yes, you heard it. Josh Allen to the Chicago Bears for 2 first-round draft picks. Both those first-round draft picks for Josh Allen. He's on drugs. He's on drugs. Josh Allen was a top 3 quarterback. Yeah. He was an MVP candidate. You're going to just part ways with him? I'll get into that in just 1 second. But Johnny Manziel was a sensational quarterback for Texas A&M. It was the house that Johnny built. They have a lot of people say that Texas A&M for those 2 years, and he was the only freshman quarterback, only freshman player to ever win a Heisman. And we might never see that again. Yeah, we might never see that again. Johnny Manziel, I've heard from numerous amount of coaches that played against him in college, said he was the greatest quarterback he's ever played against. And one of them, Nick Saban, who came out there and said it, he even said it in his book, that Johnny Manziel is the greatest quarterback he's ever. And look, Nick Saban played against some of the greatest quarterbacks that went on to the NFL and became some of the greats that ever played. So that says a lot about who Johnny Manziel was and what Johnny Manziel was on a football field. A lot of things he said on the Shannon Sharpe show. That's his brother, by the way. Shannon Sharpe show. And what was so interesting about what he was saying is he brought up his friends. And that when he was in college and he really relied on his friends, he leaned on his friends when he was in college. He didn't have that in the NFL. He didn't have that with the Browns. And the Browns told him he can't bring his friends. He can't travel with his friends. This is not college football. You're not the superstar on this team. You're the quarterback, and you're going to have to learn the offense. You're going to have, and he had to tell his friends. He lost a lot of friendships moving into the NFL from college because of him thinking that he could just be the same quarterback he was in college, making money off his autographs, doing the things that he was doing, then telling his friend, coming out and saying that his family he comes from a rich family. They own oil distributing companies and gas distributing companies, when it was not true. Okay. They were not a wealthy family. They were a middle-class family. So Johnny came out and he said a lot of different things about his career in the NFL and how hard it was and how much stress it put on him. And then there was a lot of cameras on him on and off the field because of what he did in college football. And it bothered him because he couldn't handle the stress. He couldn't handle what Tim Tebow was handling and he mentioned Tim Tebow because everybody was comparing his superstardom in college to Tim Tebow. But he was better than Tim Tebow because he could throw the ball and he can move inside and out of the pocket and use his legs. The only problem with Johnny Manziel that he didn't have that Tim Tebow did have was some kind of brain. That's really why Johnny Manziel never made it.
Well,
And
Tim Tebow's a preacher.
Well, we know he's a preacher, and we know that Tim Tebow's career now is not about football, and he came out and said it, and he tried baseball too when he left.
Oh yeah, it was one of the huge signings by the Wilpons.
I mean, the Wilpons were trying to make money. That's what they were trying to do. I mean, there's nothing hidden by that. But Johnny Manziel is a guy that could still play in the NFL. Could still be playing in the NFL. He's 31 years old. He missed so many years of football, and he made a lot of money too, because he had the signing bonus. I think he got from his signing bonus, I think it was 16 million. So Johnny still made his millions of dollars, but could you imagine if Johnny Manziel didn't have that bipolar disorder, if Johnny Manziel didn't get caught up in the fame and hanging out with Justin Bieber and Floyd Mayweather and 50 Cent, if he wasn't doing that and going to boxing matches and UFC fights while he should be practicing with his team before Sunday's football games, if he actually was doing that, how good Johnny Manziel could have turned out to be.
Because you got to remember, too, in college football, that was right when Texas A&M was transitioning from the Big 12 to the SEC. Them in Missouri got in that new conference realignment at that time. I think it was in 2012, transferred over there. So he's playing against that SEC competition as a youngster without much experience. When we had Mike Evans, but still not a lot of help on that team going against these SEC defenses, which at that time, SEC defenses were considered like untouchable, especially Alabama. And he beat Alabama twice. No other quarterback could say that on that. So you're looking at Johnny Manziel
with those defenses.
No. And the defenses he's playing against in the NFL definitely are still better than the college defenses, but it's also difficult when you look at why these guys fall in drafts sometimes, and you wonder these other things that aren't known behind the scenes. Now, obviously, at the time,
did he fall? He didn't fall. He was supposed to fall. He was not supposed to be a first-round draft pick. No, he wasn't. He was not. He became a first-round draft pick the last week before the draft. The last week.
I'm talking about throughout the college season.
Yes, but nobody was drafting him in the first round. Nobody.
No, Cleveland took him. Cleveland took him because of money. They wanted a splash. They needed a splash. You think about it. Every time Cleveland takes a quarterback, they need a splash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they had to try something because, again, they're these quarterback graveyard, as you like to call it. I know, Sean, you play with the Browns, but I'm sure you've heard those jokes of, we had all these different guys and these fans put up the graveyard for them. One of them was a Halloween thing.
He did not fall, Speedy. If anything, they were looking at him as a late second round, early third round draft pick. That's what going in. And by the way, if you know the story and you watched the 30, I think it was the Netflix, Johnny Manziel. Yeah, I don't know if it was 30 for 30, but what it was a Netflix, documentary on Johnny Manziel. It was his agent. And by the way, Johnny was messed up. He was drugged up his ass when he went to the draft that day. He was supposed to be there early. He showed up late. And that was the thing about Johnny Manziel. He was doing too much drugs. He was doing too many things on and off the field.
He was still living like he was in college. He thought he was in college.
Yep, he was. And Johnny obviously got caught up in the drugs. But what his agent did was he made sure Johnny wasn't doing all those interviews the week before the drafts. He was speaking for him. And he made sure that Johnny was not speaking to the press or throwing himself under the bus. And what did that do for him? It did a lot for him, because then there was a team, because he said there might be a team in the late first round, and he knew the Browns were interested. And I think the Browns had, 2 or 3 first-round draft
They
picks.
had 2. They drafted Justin Gilbert, who was supposed to be the top corner, who ended up sucking in the NFL. 8th overall, I believe. And I think Johnny Manziel was the second one, and then they had a third one at the end.
Yes. So they knew that if Johnny was sitting there in the 20s, which everybody thought he was going to be, that the Browns were going to try to make a splash. And like Sean said, they drafted him not because they thought he was a first-round talent. It was because it was going to put fannies in the seats. And it did. It sold out tickets the first year, and then Johnny wasn't showing up, wasn't doing this, wasn't doing that. He was out there, in every single magazine, getting himself into trouble, hanging out with all these sexy, hot, models, and supposedly he was beating them up or hitting them and getting himself into trouble. There was a story coming out that him and his friends rented out a house. They bashed up the house, and they were, when one of the Browns executives, or not even Browns, one of the assistants went to go and find him, there were drugs all over. There was beer bottles all over, and he was messed up, halfway naked, laying on the freaking bathroom floor. Okay. So Johnny was doing things that he shouldn't be doing, and cost Johnny Manziel a career. And Johnny doesn't regret it. He came out and said he does not regret his career. He doesn't regret what he did. He just wasn't fit for the NFL.
And again, you also look at an organization like the Browns too, that it was the wrong spot for him when you need somebody to grow into a man to be a leader at the quarterback.
Nobody
position.
wanted him, Speedy.
And none of those other teams that had those kinds of values wanted him. So a team like the Browns, which we would consider as a dysfunctional franchise, like we talk about with Washington and the Raiders and all these other teams, had to be that other team to take a chance on him. And he was never able to grow as a person because of that too. And again, some of that was on him, but also some of that, like you said, was on this bipolar, all of these public outcry. And I feel bad for him in some ways for that reason, because he got too much popularity, too much hype that he definitely deserved being the college quarterback, but at the same time, still in the negative light for all the things he did.
It's sad.
He was a good quarterback, good dude. He's flashy. At the end of the day, the Cleveland hasn't had a great quarterback. My mom loved how he played, the excitement he brought to the game, but he knew what he was doing. It's just like any other kid. What makes him different from everybody else?
Not much. I mean,
you know what I mean? Most of these kids that get drafted, talented with a bunch of money, young, they get it. Everybody can't handle the limelight. I remember being at. As a matter of fact, I remember it was a Wale concert, and fucking Johnny Manziel is on stage with Wale, and they have a game. I think it was a Thursday night. Thursday night they have a game Saturday, and you're in Dallas. I just let you know. I let you know what a kid, what his priorities was at.
He didn't have many priorities. It's a shame. It's a real shame what happened to Johnny Manziel. I feel bad because I thought Johnny Manziel. I love Johnny Manziel, and I remember Mikey C and me were arguing about him and what type of player he was going to be in the NFL. I thought he had all the ability in the world to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I really did believe that he had that talent, the Trevor Lawrence type of talent that everybody says he can change the game. I thought I saw that in college. The guy didn't even try. He was putting up 400 yards, 500 yards, 300 yards. He wasn't even practicing with the team. The coaches said, just show up to game day. We don't care. Just be there on game day and we'll play you. And they did. They sat it. I remember in one of the games, they sat him in the first quarter because he didn't show up. Yeah. He showed up 5 minutes before the game or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he still won the game. He still put up 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Okay. So that's the type of player he was. And to say that he couldn't be a great NFL quarterback is crazy. I just don't think his mind was in the game. I just don't think his talent was enough for him. I think to him, it was all about, hey, you know what? I'm flashy. I'm money. I'm Money Manziel, or whatever the hell he calls himself. He hung out.
Johnny Football.
Whatever he called himself. Johnny Football. He hung out, like I said, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys that have a ton of money. But who was Johnny Manziel to Floyd Mayweather? Who was he to Justin Bieber? Who was he to 50 Cent? He was a nobody. He was just a young quarterback trying to become that player, that guy that stood out for.
But he was somebody. If LeBron James hitting you up and you all are celebrities, that's just how it goes all the time.
The only reason why LeBron James hit him up is because where are they both playing? I mean, obviously LeBron James was playing for Cleveland, and he grew up a Browns fan. And where did Johnny Manziel go? He went to Cleveland.
The same year LeBron went back to Cleveland.
Yeah, so that's the only reason why he hit him up. And by the way, when he was sticking up for the whole Johnny Manziel thing, when Johnny Manziel fell off the earth, where is LeBron James now? Where is he now?
Probably praising somebody else on the Cowboys.
Where is he now? Your buddy LeBron James. Just saying.
Well, to be honest, you heard on Club Shay Shay. He said he couldn't even get up when LeBron called him. So what you mean?
What are you eating? Cookies right now? Cookies and milk? What are you eating?
Looked like he had a Shake Shack shake.
Yeah, Shake Shack shake. My girl bought a Shake Shack shake.
No, the Shake Shacks are not as good as they are over here in New York. You know that, man. It's the milk over there. I don't like the milk over there in Texas, man. Makes me sick. It gives me a stomach ache.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm on the bowl when I have milk over there. You know,
you need some Southern hospitality. Maybe your life will change.
Are you going to invite Errol to your house, Sean?
Are you kidding me? Sean will probably hide behind the door, and I'll be ringing his doorbell, and he'd be like, Sean, wake up. He'd be like, I'm not home.
No. I'll see you on camera before you even pull up.
Nicole Hardman said on a Pivot podcast that the Jets can't tell him about winning. He also added that the Jets told me lies and weren't properly prepared for Aaron Rodgers' season-ending injury. He also said that the Jets had too many individual egos, while everybody is treated the same on the Chiefs. No, it's not. That's not true. Hardman played just 5 games with the Jets and had just 1 catch and 6 yards. Hardman had 12 catches for 114 yards in 6 regular season games back with the Chiefs, and 3 catches for 57 yards and the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. Hardman also took shots at Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, saying it was crazy they took the ball first in the overtime with the new rules. First of all, and I'm saying this not because I'm a Jet fan, because I would agree with him on a lot of things that he just said, okay? I think the Jets praised Aaron Rodgers when they brought him here in their trade. They did. They praised him, and he played for 4 snaps, and he was out for the season. I also believe that the Jets didn't have a game plan if Aaron Rodgers got hurt at any point of the season. He's absolutely right. Egos. Mecole Hardman, all right? How many egos have you had in Kansas City? I don't know. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. Do you want me to keep on going and going and going? Okay? Don't say that the Jets had egos, because, yes, I would agree a lot of NFL teams have egos. I could agree that I would say Robert Saleh has an ego when he brought in Aaron Rodgers. You saw him on Hard Knocks. Oh, we got Aaron Rodgers, or we got a player like this. He could change everything. He changed the game. Yeah, he changed the game, all right. In 4 plays, he was out for the season. He changed everything for the Jets. 7 wins later, back-to-back years, keeps selling it to the Jet fans. He's absolutely right. But what did Mecole Hardman do when he went over there back to Kansas City in 6 games? 114 yards. He had 3 catches for 57 yards. Oh, and a touchdown in the playoffs. In the Super Bowl. The only reason why he had that touchdown, because he was the only guy running that lane and that slant at the end of the game, and he ran that. What is it called? The Andy Reid special?
Yeah, it was a zigzag route. The same route they ran twice.
It's called, as in the words of my daughter Skylar, she knows the play. It's called hot dog.
Okay, it's a hot dog, whatever it is.
Oh, maybe the Chiefs
sure
side Mark
hamburger.
Sanchez.
I like hamburgers. Can we call it the hamburger?
All right, no. Chiefs got to go sign Mark Sanchez.
She said, it's called hot dog, Daddy.
I like the cheeseburger. I like that. I'll just call it. Give me some cheese.
I'm gonna say what you like. You just want to be part of a championship. I understand.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what I need?
See, they can't use cheeseburger in overtime. Andy Reid would have eaten them all by then.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Giddy. That is Andy's favorite thing.
That's my favorite thing too. So I like cheeseburgers. Don't bring up hot dogs. If you like hot dogs, enjoy them.
Yep.
Okay.
Otherwise, the Chiefs will be forced to sign Mark Sanchez.
Speedy likes sausages. That's what he likes. I'm not a sausage fan. I am more of a hamburger fan. But anyways, getting back into this, he's right. The Jets couldn't tell him about winning. But honestly, he was on the Kansas City Chiefs. He won 2 Super Bowl rings. Fantastic. Great, Mecole Hardman. Let me ask you a question. Why did the Kansas City Chiefs decide to part ways with you in the offseason last year if you were a big part of that team? You were a big part of their championship chances on going further the second year, back-to-back years. They decided to keep Tony. By the way, he can't stand on sides. and by the way, didn't even really play much in the Super Bowl. We didn't see him on the field.
Congratulations, Mecole Hardman. You're a slight upgrade over Kadarius Toney.
I mean, Kadarius Toney came from the Giants. He goes over there, wins 2 Super Bowls back-to-back years. Last year, he was somewhat part of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was good in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
This year, he wasn't. Nope. But he won 2 Super Bowls. Are you going to say that he knows everything about winning? When you have a great quarterback and you have a great coach, it gives you a chance to win every single time. It's just like baseball. If you have the best pitcher, you have a better chance of winning than the best hitter. Why? Because pitching wins championships. Everybody knows that. We have Jacque Jones. I'm sure he would say the same thing. You can have the best hitter in the world, but if you have the best pitcher in the world, I'm going to bet on the pitcher more than the hitter. So you look at the position that Hardman's been in over the last couple of years, and I know you're a Kansas City guy, Sean. I know you love your Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. But when Mecole Hardman goes on a podcast and wants to throw the Jets under the bus as an organization, there's nothing you can throw under the bus about the New York Jets that we don't already know. So what are you doing? I mean, we all know that Aaron Rodgers runs this team. We all know the organization is in a state of flux. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do this offseason to find a backup quarterback to play behind Aaron Rodgers because they had Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson couldn't cut it this year, and he's been an absolute failure. So what is he going to sell right now? Why? Because he thinks he's better than Garrett Wilson? Dude, you wish you were better than Garrett Wilson. You wish. Garrett Wilson can have one arm, and he's better than you, okay? Honestly, you're not anywhere close to and I'm not saying this because I'm a Jet fan. I'm not. He's not anywhere close to Garrett Wilson. If Garrett Wilson was on that Kansas City Chiefs team, and he was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs before the season's end, he's the best player on that He's the best offensive weapon the Kansas City Chiefs have. He's the best offensive weapon that Patrick Mahomes has, and even Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is getting old. He's getting up there in age. Garrett Wilson would be his number one target. So to sit here and say, well, I was the best, I believe I was the best wide receiver on that team. What are you, nuts? Are you drugged out or something? You weren't even the second best option. You were the third best option.
You were the fifth best option, and you got beaten out by an old man Randall Cobb. And
no, that's not it. And I do believe that he got screwed. I do believe he got screwed because Randall Cobb is Aaron Rodgers' friend.
Sure.
I do believe that. I do believe he got screwed when it came to Randall Cobb. I do believe he got screwed from all these guys that they brought from Green Bay. Sean's right about that. I believe that Mecole Hardman should have got more of a chance playing as the second or third option for the New York Jets. They rather play Gibson, the young rookie that they had who was undrafted, over Mecole Hardman. So I would agree with you.
Why? Because what he did, what the Gibson do on special teams. That's
why.
One
punt return. One.
Yeah, special teams. And when you got to remember, when you're not the number one or the number two receiver, you're the third receiver. You're pretty much a special team guy.
Yeah, I think that Mecole Hardman did get screwed by the Jets as far as getting at least more than one catch in the games that he was there with the Jets. I feel that he did. But to say that the Jets can't tell him about winning, besides winning those 2 Super Bowls, and it wasn't you, by the way, but you were there and you did catch the game-winning catch, but I think Speedy would have caught that ball. I think I would have caught that ball. I think you would have caught that ball, Sean. When was the last time you played in the NFL? What was it? 7 years ago, 8 years ago? And you never even played in the offensive side of the ball. You could have ran that route.
Whoa. Yeah, I have. Check my resume.
I know you got touchdowns. I know you scored it. Speedy, why are you laughing in the mic? You're going to blow my eardrums out. Okay?
Check my resume. And then on top of that, I mean, I've been on the offensive side of the ball. What you mean? I'm a dog on the offensive side. Pee Wee,
You're a dog? How many touchdowns did you have, Mr. Defensive Lineman?
In the NFL?
Yes.
I only had one in the NFL.
Okay. I'm just saying. I
only
remember
had one in the NFL, but when I did play goal line, I blocked for Thomas Jones, Jamal Charles. I mean, come on.
I know. I'm just saying. When was the last time you played in the NFL, buddy?
Hey, I may not play it in a long time. I still can line up right now and play.
That's not my question. Why are you trying to beat around the bush? I mean, I know you like to beat around bushes. I mean,
2013.
Speedy doesn't like to cut his bush, but let's go.
I don't have a bush.
2013 was my last game.
What was that?
That's the last game I played in. 2013 was the last NFL game.
That's 11 years ago. Okay. I'm just saying, Mecole Hart. I think I've never played in the NFL. I could have run that route and caught that ball. Okay. And he's bragging about it. Oh, got the game winning catch. And then he's attacking Kyle Shanahan. By the way, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He should have known the rules. He's the coach. You should know the rules of the game. And he obviously didn't know the rules. And he claimed he did, by the way. But none of his players knew the rules.
A lot of key players didn't know the rules.
None of the players
knew. You know why? Because they probably didn't pay attention in the meeting.
Right.
Because normally a good head coach, every week before the game, they tell you who's the referees, the rules, and everything every week in a team meeting. That's what they do.
So, I mean, they thought talent could win in a game that was very close, and talent doesn't always win. We know that. We've seen some great NFL teams lose. So, I'm very shocked that Mecole Hardman came out and threw the Jets under the bus like this. Now, again, he's a guy that obviously is trying to, pop up in the tabloids. People don't care that he caught the ball, the final catch of the Super Bowl that won the Super Bowl. Nobody cares. All they care about is who was throwing the ball. All they care about who was coaching the team, and all they care about is who's hanging out with Taylor Swift. Okay, that's all they cared about. Nobody cared about Mecole Hardman catching that ball. Okay, maybe his mom did, or his family did, and maybe you did, Sean, because you're a Kansas City guy. But me, as a football fan, I could care less if Mecole Hardman caught that ball. I could care less. I could.
You see Patty Mahomes got that ball to him, though.
Listen, Patrick Mahomes is a special player, and we all know you Kansas City fans love him. I mean, you should all line up and put a crown on him and get him a nice little seat, on top of I don't know. Give him like a nice a throne. That's it. Give him a nice throne, and then Andy Reid could get a sword and knight him as the king of Kansas City. Okay, let's do that. I'll write to Kansas City. I'll write to the ownership, the Hunt family. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to say, you should knight our friend Patrick Mahomes. Make him the king of Kansas City. Give him the key to all your hearts.
He's already the king of Kansas City. What you mean?
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
You're the king of Kansas City.
Nah, man, I'm the king of New York.
No, you're not. What drugs are you on? What are you smoking?
Bro, I can tell you.
What are you smoking now?
Oh, hey, look. I don't do drugs. Marijuana is not a drug. It's life. It's earth. It's a plant.
You're going to tell me marijuana is not a drug? Don't tell that to the cop that pulls you over, buddy.
Whoa,
marijuana is not a drug.
Whoa, chill, grasshopper. Don't mention those words. It's the first of the month. The cops are out. They're trying to get that quarter, bro. Come on, bro.
Hey, listen, where are you going? Are you jumping in your car?
Yeah, I gotta go to my house now. I'm headed to my house. I've been in my girlfriend's house.
Uh-oh.
I've been at my girlfriend. I've been at my girlfriend's house.
He's going home to the fam.
Nah, she's moving into my. So stuff out of the apartment before we left. So this is how dedicated I am to the show.
Oh,
I wanted to make
it's
sure.
wonderful. Yeah, let me see the nice sky over there. Do we see anything? I see the moon. Is it a full moon over there?
It's a little dark out right now. Hold on, I'm in the garage. I'm coming out the garage. That's why, you like
he's
seeing
looking,
the moon.
he's looking around right now in his garage.
Yeah, into the parking
I
lot.
see you looking around. You're a funny dude, man. You really are. You've lost your mood.
I am the funny.
You the funny
there
dude?
It is.
Yeah, you are funny. You are a funny little dude.
What could I say? I am. I mean, I'm not hanging out in the village like you claim I am. But hey,
I got good tattoo places out there.
Well, I'm not going to the village over there and getting tattoos. I'm sorry. I mean, I'll ask Jacque if he's ever been to the village. I doubt he has. So, anyways, when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to our first guest, our friend, former Twins, Cubs, Marlins, Tigers, outfielder, Jacque Jones, here on the Sports Loudmouth.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouth.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I almost forgot, I don't know if I forget, but I'm out there a little bit tonight. I don't know. I'm a little bit out there. I'm trying to figure out there. I'm just kidding, guys. 631-672-3108. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Sean Smith every single Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and listen to our show is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com and check out our local listings. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've had him on the show before. We love him, and I want to apologize to him. We swapped our numbers. I've reached out to him. It's been crazy, but summer's around the corner. Baseball's around the corner. I think Jacque needs to come out here. We need to go to a ball game together. We are now talking to former Twins, Cubs, Marlins, and Tigers outfielder Jacque Jones. Jacque, what's up, bud?
Speedy, Earl, what's up, man? What's going on?
You look good, man. I mean, obviously, we're playing a lot of golf. You're wearing your nice golf hat. You're getting ready. You shaved, ready to go. How's retired life?
It's been great. Can't complain. Baseball was very, very good to me. So just enjoying life, man, and enjoying watching my kids grow up, and it's just been pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I mean, it's 10 years in baseball, making the money that you made. I mean, it's pretty sweet, man. I would say it's pretty sweet too. I'd be sitting here, I would be drinking a strawberry daiquiri. I don't drink, but I just have my foot up and feet up, and somebody wants to interview me and say, yeah, you can interview me, and I'll just be sipping on my strawberry daiquiri like my friend over here, Sean Smith, driving his beautiful car, heading home to his beautiful home, and enjoying his retired life as I'm here hosting a show and interviewing multimillionaires.
It's just like our friend.
How can I beat it?
It's just like our friend Jarvis Green when he was in the limo with the strawberry Hennessy.
That's right. That's right. But Jarvis was drunk, man.
I know.
I mean, Jarvis was in a whole nother world.
Sound like you guys know some pretty cool people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you got to come out here. We got to show you a good time. Go to a ball game over here. I know you don't want to go to Yankee Stadium because you've had a bad time over there. As you play for the Twins, and you know what it's all about winning over there for the Yankees.
Yeah. Not lately, but I hear you.
He's all right. He's all right with me. He's all right with me because he played for the Twins. One of my good buddies, Latrell Hawkins, used to play for the
Oh
Twins.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's my big bro. We got a podcast together.
Yeah, that's my guy. We went to church together, and we still talk a lot now because he's out here. When he is out here, he live in Texas,
Yeah,
so we live
exactly.
not too far from each other down the street. So that's my guy.
Yep.
I don't know Latrell. Okay,
Latroy.
I'm sorry, Latroy.
Yeah, you said Latrell.
Yeah.
All right, Latroy Hawkins.
You don't know who Latroy is? I tell you what.
He's a pitcher. I know who Latroy Hawkins is. You said Latrell, and I copied you.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
All right. I know Latroy Hawkins. I know who he is. Okay. I know baseball. All right.
Hey, my CTE kicked in. How about that?
But I actually, Latroy always pitched well against the Yankees. He always did. And I couldn't, as a Yankee fan, I couldn't stand when he was on the mound at some aspects because he always, I'm trying to remember who he always struck out. If I'm not mistaken, he would always get either Paul O'Neill. I think it was Paul O'Neill, but he would strike out one of those. Either Tino Martinez or Paul O'Neill was one of them. He would always get one of those guys.
I think it was Tino.
It was Tino. Yeah, it was one of them. He would always strike him out. And I always knew that when Tino was up there in the 8th or 7th inning, when Latroy was up at the mound, I said, oh, here we go. Strike out here. So I know Latroy. I couldn't stand him when he pitched against the Yankees, but nevertheless, as everybody knows, we are talking to former Twins, Cubs, Marlins, and Tigers, mostly known with the Minnesota Twins, Jacque Jones. Yeah. So, Jacque, the offseason is here, and the Yankees make a huge move. They make a move for Juan Soto, add a left-handed power bat to that lineup, a dangerous bat to their lineup, and now you put him in the middle, or you put him over there at 3. You have Judge hitting there at number 2, and you had Giancarlo Stanton hitting right behind him, who lost, I think they said Giancarlo Stanton lost 20 pounds this offseason. Where do you think, and what type of team do you think this is, and does this look like Murderer's Row now going into the season?
Man, look, those guys. I'm actually pulling for a Giancarlo because he hasn't really been healthy the last couple of years. I know he still has some good play left in him. He's had a couple not so Giancarlo Stanton years, and to put Soto right in the middle of him and Judge, I think that'll be a wonderful 2-3-4 or 3-4-5 or however they end up. But you got to be able to get people out, man. They can score as many runs as they can, but if they don't get anybody out, it doesn't matter.
So you got to play with a guy that was just inducted into the Hall of Fame, Joe Mauer.
Yeah,
one of the 3 inductees this year. What was he like as a teammate on and off the field?
Joe was a great teammate. He was very quiet. He was one of those guys that talk softly but carried the big stick. Literally, pause. I mean, Joe could have left. Joe could have broke with our team. We were talking about this. I was in Minnesota probably about a month and a half ago at Twins Fest, and we were talking. Joe could have probably left out of spring training as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid. He could have broke with the team and been our starting catcher. It couldn't have happened to a better guy. He had a wonderful career, 3 batting titles, I believe, an MVP award, 3 or 4 or 5 All-Star game appearances. As a catcher, it couldn't happen to a better person or more deserving person.
Jacque, the only problem with it, and I like Joe Mauer. He was a catcher. He put up the numbers. He was a silver slugger. The guy won batting titles. I mean, how many catchers win batting titles? Not many.
Yeah, it's like him, Buster Posey, I think Molina.
Yeah, not many people do that.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, and this is what bothers me. When you look at the Hall of Fame and when you look at the voters and these writers, they're voting these guys. Albert Bell never got voted in. The guy had 7 or 8 of the greatest years I've ever seen a hitter have.
Gary Sheffield.
Yep. And then you look at Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly, for 5 or 6 years, he was the best hitter in baseball, the best slugger in baseball, and one of the best defensive players in baseball. He's not in the Hall of Fame. But then you put, and I'm not taking shots at these guys, okay? I'm just I'm just speaking the truth. You have Reigns in the Hall of Fame. You have all these different guys. I'm trying to think of the names.
Harold Baines, your favorite.
Harold Baines, another one. These guys are in all because of the years that they played, their longevity. 20 years that Harold Baines played, he's in the Hall of Fame. But if you compare their numbers to the time that Don Mattingly and all these different guys that we mentioned, the years that they had, they were way better players. Albert Bell, way better players than those guys.
Yeah, but you got to look at the position and where they were in the lineups and stuff. Like Tim Raines was a leadoff hitter, right? Ricky Henderson, leadoff hitter, right? You gotta look at the overall outlook on their careers and the positions they played. Joe was a catcher. You're comparing Joe to catchers. You're not really comparing Joe to an outfielder, right? You're not comparing a leadoff hitter to a cleanup or a number 3 hitter, right? Their position and what they meant to the game at that time. And since we're talking about Tim Raines, Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lofton's numbers are every bit as good as Tim Raines. So
I was just about to say that.
So Kenny Lofton needs to get, look at that, my first homer too in the big leagues. 3-1 changeup.
You're looking over there. You should have done this.
Yeah, I just flipped it over to Baggy. But yeah, I think they look at position players and position wise and where they were, and then they go from there.
So I was going to ask about the Twins' outlook this year. When you look at them just coming off the AL Central title last year, I think the last time we had you on, they were in the playoffs against the Blue Jays, and they won that series. Errol picked it right. He actually did have the Twins winning that series. But what do you think about their talent this year, the young talent that they have, and even some of the pitching that they have?
I like that Pablo Lopez, man. He's a dominant, shutdown type of guy. And then that closer they got, he comes in throwing like $1 billion, and it's heavy sink, and like you better get some runs in between the starters and that closer, or else you're gonna be in for a long game. I liked Royce. Royce came on at the end. The biggest thing for them is having Buxton. If Buxton is healthy, man, he's gonna extend that lineup, and he's gonna those outfielders aren't going to have much ground to cover if he's healthy and he's out there every day. So I like them to repeat in the Central, League, but we'll see what happens in October, but I like them to repeat in the Central.
We are talking to former Twins, Cubs, Marlins, Tigers outfielder Jacque Jones. Sean, I know you have a question.
Yeah, my question, I was just about to ask him, in your 10-year career, who is best teammate?
I'd have to say David Ortiz. He every day was something, and his English was broken, and just putting words together and putting phrases together and stuff like that. And he always came with a smile on his face. And we had a good time on the field, just as good as we had a good time off the field. He was one of I was sad to see him go, man, but happy to see where he ended up and how he ended up. But he was my favorite teammate in the big leagues.
What's so crazy about David Ortiz? He almost was a Yankee.
Okay,
he was
I like that.
Go ahead, Sean.
He was like what?
No. David Ortiz was 5 minutes away from being a Yankee.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. No, I was about to say, I was agreeing with Earl. I said, I believe you, but it didn't happen. So, with that being said, what do you feel is your greatest accomplishment as being everybody wants to make it to the major leagues, but what obstacles I can say, baseball is different than football. Y'all got the farm leagues and all of that. So what keeps a guy so intrigued into baseball? Because you guys play a lot of games.
Yeah, so we have this thing in baseball, especially in the minor leagues. You complain about the bus rides and at the time the stadiums, but everybody's got new stadiums these days, or they're getting new stadiums built, right? And then we had it wasn't much on nutrition like they are these days. We had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and tuna and all that stuff, and just decent meals, man. And we complained about it, and they said, hey, if you want to change it, play better. So that was always, that always played in the back of my mind. Instead of complaining, play better, and get up out of it. I was up out of the minor leagues in 2.5 years, man. And I was blessed along the way. I spent a year in A-ball and a year in AA. And at the time in Minnesota, they were making us, spend 1 year at every level and dominate every level before you move up. One of my good friends, Matt Locke, got hit in the eye. And because of him, I got caught up to the big leagues right before the All-Star break, and then I never went down. So that was my biggest break in the big leagues. But again, just being able to persevere through the minor leagues, man, and get out of there in 2.5 years was huge.
What was your thought to the Dodgers, signing of Ohtani? $700 million. When you see the numbers, it wasn't 700,000. It wasn't 7 million. It wasn't 70 million. It was 700 million. And then defer that money, and then bring Yamamoto in and all these other guys there. You bring all these different guys in, and they're all deferred. You see Friedman, he's not going to get paid all his money in 2035. You have Mookie Betts, he's not getting paid till 2040. And then you have, you don't have to pay Ohtani until I guess 2037 or something like that. I mean, does this make any sense to you?
I mean, as players wanting to win, it makes perfect sense. I mean, they're going to be richer when they retire than they are while they're playing. So it'll be, unless the Dodgers just tank and go under and they have to sell the team and things like that, those guys are going to be some rich son of a guns when they're done playing. But it frees them up to make moves like they made. But hey, listen, I'm a Padres fan, and I always say, hey, the Dodgers, I tell my friends every year that like this, the Dodgers, I've seen this movie probably about 10 or 11 or 12 or 17 times already. The Dodgers win a million games during the regular season. They go 1,062,000, but then they get to October and the train gets off the track. So I don't care how many moves they made this year. Show me what it looks like in October.
So what is your thought on the process of the deferred money? Is it something that you think other teams, not even just high market teams, but even some of the middle market teams could try to take on? Because I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to ruin baseball. I think it's going to being transcendent in a different way. What is your thought on that?
Right. I mean, I like it. I mean, a good friend of mine's got rich off doing it. Bobby Bowe, he deferred $5 million and it turned into $35 million. I don't think guys are doing that anymore because of that situation. But I mean, these guys want to win, and they know they're going to get paid sooner or later. So if they can win now and make less today and live like kings in retirement, like they're going to do anyway, then I'm all for it.
I'll tell you this: Bobby Bonilla is making what? He's still owed, I think, another $5-6 million. Yep. I mean, could you imagine every single year they have Bobby Bonilla Day with the Mets?
Happy July 1st.
I mean, that's my 4th of July present. Hey, here's $1 million. Enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
I wish I had that too. I don't have to do anything for the rest of my life. I just get $1 million a year.
I was saying when Steve Cohen first bought the Mets, they should just have Bobby Bonilla Day and let him throw the first pitch every year.
Every year on Bobby Bonilla Day, you should throw out the first pitch.
Hey, listen, if Cohen actually wins a championship, he might give him another 15 years of $1 million.
Yeah, why not? Can't be any worse than what they gave to Max Scherzer.
Hey.
Oh man, you guys are horrible, man.
Come on, Sean. You can't pay a third starter $43 million a year for like a 3.95 ERA or whatever he had.
Hey, that was a going market.
Hey, don't get mad at him. You gotta say he got a good agent.
That's right.
I know.
Boy, does he ever. I mean, if I ever had Bobby Bonilla's agent, I mean, it's not even just Bobby Bonilla. He's not the only one. There were so many other guys that nobody even speaks of. Look at Davis.
Yep. He's the new one now.
Look at Chris Davis in Baltimore.
He's another one.
Dude, he's going to get paid all the way to 2055.
Yep.
And even switching sports too. Look at the Islanders having to pay the great Rick DiPietro.
Don't get me started about Rick DiPietro. I'm not a big fan of his. Me and him actually played junior hockey together. I couldn't stand him. I'll tell you guys a quick story. I went to an Islander playoff game years and years ago when John Tavares was last year. John Tavares was there before he went to free agency,
Right.
and Rick DiPietro was doing the intermission. The intermission where he was wearing his ugly, whatever he was wearing, his blazers. He wears the ugliest blazers. They're the ugliest things, man. And I was there with one of my boys, and I poked my head up, and he saw me, and he started punching the glass. And I told him, I said, my glass is outside the door. And I kept telling him, and he started giving me the finger. I was like, dude, you robbed the Islanders. They threw me out. I was screaming. I was like, you robbed the Islanders. The Islanders are still paying your goofy ass money. And now they're letting you speak for them. The idiot organization that they are. Why am I a fan of this organization? That's what I said to him. I said, this organization is a joke. Anybody that lets your ass speak for them is a stupid organization. Amen. And now he's working for ESPN. So I'll give him credit. Yeah. I'll give him credit. He's been there a long time. He's done well for himself.
You cannot hate the player if they want to. I don't even say give it to him. Hey, if that's what they signed for and that's what they wanted to pay him, hey, God bless him. Good on him.
Boy, oh boy, God bless him. I mean, I wish I had that money. Let me tell you. I mean, if I didn't hurt my knee, I would be long retired. I'm 41. I think I probably would have retired from hockey at 37, 36. I was definitely playing professional hockey. There was no doubt in my mind I was going to play pro hockey. And then I hurt my knee, and there went my career. It's bye-bye birdie. So now look at you guys. I mean, I'm speaking. Oh, this guy made millions of dollars. That guy makes $1 million. I'm sitting here, counting my dollars. Sean, you should buy me a car.
I should buy you some. Really?
You should buy me. Come on, man. Show a brother some love, man. Show a brother some love.
I could buy something.
Times is hard, man. Times is hard right now. What I'm going through right now. So hey, child support some bud.
That's right. He's going through a divorce.
Yes, it is, my friend.
So
one of our.
This is my first one. This is my second one.
He gets around, baby. Jacque, he gets around.
Yeah.
It's not even about getting around. It's just that I'm gonna be honest with you. It takes special women to be married to a professional athlete. All jokes aside.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that Tupac song. I get around. That's my song.
I feel you, but no, that's what everybody thinks. But it's not even about that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think some men do certain things just because the situation they in, the status is. Some guys is egos and everything. You know what I mean? So it's just, and also people don't understand you can outgrow somebody. Some women are jealous and insecure, just like men are insecure too. So it's vice versa. You can't, but I also believe you outgrow people too.
Just so you know, I'm sorry to cut you off, Jacque. I want to give you some information here. I am not insecure about myself. As a matter of fact, I'm the least insecure person you'll ever meet. I'm not insecure at all. And I hate when people say, well, this guy.
We can tell by you always wearing white beaters all the time, my guy. Come on, nobody wants to see skin. That's why he had to say pause 4 times.
Don't
they didn't understand when you said pause. They didn't understand what that means.
Don't knock the game, buddy. Don't knock the game. Don't knock the game.
All right, so I'm not going to knock the game. So do you understand when he was saying pause, what he was saying pause for?
Yes, I understand why you were saying pause.
No, you don't. No, you don't. And that's why I say you hang out in the village, then, my guy.
Oh, I hang out in the village because I wear wife beaters. What are you, nuts? Why? Because I actually have something to look at. Oh, you watch your mouth, little man over there.
Trust me. Hey, I put on a white beater. They see the guns. Trust me, and put a little baby on you on.
You mean it's on the park. You see the flap? What did you see the meat?
No, hey, I tell you what. I'm not the big guy that goes to the pool and wear a t-shirt. I'm all in. They see it all.
First of all, buddy. I don't have to wear a shirt. I can wear a shirt. It doesn't matter to me. And you're a year older than me. Don't play this flappy game with me, buddy.
That's why they say. Hey, they say respect your elders.
You were born in 1981. I was born in 82.
Oh, boy.
Hey, doesn't matter. Elders.
Is that what you tell your daughters?
My daughters, to be honest with you, my daughters are like, they are nowhere near me. I'm just gonna be honest.
I can tell. They seem
because I'm so
like
blunt.
beautiful.
I'm so blunt. Yeah, not beautiful girls. They're nice, and you know what I mean. Until you make them mad, but
that's women. That's women. Period.
That's what it is. Hey, but JJ, quick question for you: Who was you rooting for, and who's your NFL team?
The Chargers.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm from San Diego, so I'm San Diego everything. Or team.
Hey, no, I feel you. I rock with San Diego though. San Diego's cool, like living and chilling out there, yo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My cousin had his daughter by coming to see me play. I was playing for the Bengals, playing against the Chargers. Well, this little girl out there ended up having a baby. Tell you.
Did they name him after you?
No, they didn't name him after me. They didn't name him after me. Thank you very much, smart ass.
So Sean, to answer your question though, when the Chargers aren't playing or they're not in contention for anything, which they haven't been in a while, I pull for Patrick because we grew up. Well, not grew up, but we know his dad really well. Me and LaTroy.
No, I got you. Yeah.
So I was pulling for Patrick and those guys in the Super Bowl.
So speaking of LaTroy, one of our fans, Carl, has a question. I didn't even realize that. Does LaTroy Hawkins have 6 fingers on his throwing hand? I didn't even know.
No.
Okay, Carl,
that was Alfonseca.
Okay, Antonio Alfonseca. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carl, you had that one wrong. But he has another question. He's a Cubs fan. Have you been to the new Cubs clubhouse, and is it better when you were there playing at Wrigley Field?
I have not been to it, but I heard that it's phenomenal. So and what we had was way below average. So I heard that their new setup was pretty cool.
He also mentioned
I got a question.
Carl, let me just get to this. Carl also says, one of your favorite memories of you was the Twins beat the A's in the playoffs, and Jacque said his teammates were busting out "Get Out of the Way" by Ludacris in the clubhouse.
Oh yeah, we was turned up back then. Yep, that was one of the songs that we played on rotation when we won. We had a handful of songs, and as soon as we walked in the clubhouse, that was the first song that we heard.
All right, go ahead, Sean. What were you saying?
I know. I was about to ask him about in the clubhouse. Like, I've been to a couple of major league clubhouses, but my question is, it's been a while. Do y'all, was you a big beer guy or what? I'm just curious.
I don't drink, so I wasn't. They could have alcohol. They could have that dip stuff in there. I would never touch any of it because I don't do any of it. They have started cracking down on having beer in the clubhouses because we had a few incidents where guys, were drinking and
with the DUI, with the DUIs, right? That's kind of like.
And not only DUI, they had a couple guys lose their lives because they were drunk while driving. So they that was like the beginning of banning alcohol in the clubhouses.
Yeah, because they started doing that. They started doing that on the NFL. Banning it on them, on the charter flights. You got that long flight after that win. Yep. If you know a flight attendant, they're gonna have the good liquor for you. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, you got to be careful with Sean with the flight attendants. He likes to. He likes to. He likes to be a little flimsy.
First of all, I have dated a few back in the day. Yeah. The thing about dating a flight attendant, I'm gonna tell you a thing about dating a flight attendant, my guy. That's free flights. You don't got to worry about nothing. I fly to the.
What are you crying about flights? You got the money. What do you care?
This is the problem with people. You got the money. Y'all fella realize you pay agent fees. You got tax. Uncle Sam gets his money. A lifestyle you try to live. People don't understand that. You take care of mom. You take care of everything. And guess what? I haven't played since 2013, bro. So how do I still have money if I have taxes and I've been divorced twice?
No, that's true. I won't lie. But I got something.
But see, what people messes up is that when you make good relationships and you're a good person, people give you comp tickets, send you clothes, they do certain things, and then you're in the mix. You don't have nothing to worry about. Then it seems like I'm doing all this, but sometimes when I'm going to some of these places, I didn't pay for the flight. They paid for it. They flew me there.
Right.
Play it, Speedy. Go ahead. Let's get it.
Oh, he's mad.
Oh, come on. There. Get it. Let's run it. Move, bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way. Go, bitch. Get out the way. Come on, Sean. Ho, ho, ho. Bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way. Ho. Oh. That's for you, Jacque. We wanted to give you a gift before we let you go. We love you, man.
We was turned up before it turned up was a thing.
Well, that was the thing. And by the way, he won how many Grammys for that song? I think he won like 4 or 5 Grammys for that song.
He won a bunch of them.
Yes, I know. That year he was killing it. That year,
And he was too around that time. Him and Little John and the East Side Boys was all killing it.
No, I remember it. I'm a DJ, so I remember that time in the club. And there is no clubs anymore. There is no clubs anymore.
Yeah, look. This is the club right here. The cell phone. This is the club. You don't have to go anywhere no more. The club is right at your fingertip.
Uh-oh. So why don't we have a party at your house? Let's set up a party. We'll have Sean set it up. He'll bring Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, right, Sean? We'll get them over
and his father, because Jacque knows his father.
And the father, we'll get a bunch of flight attendants,
Hey, don't threaten me with a good time.
Hey, hey, I got enough room though for sure.
Well, it looks like you have a nice house in the background. I know that's not your house, but it's so funny. I know. Right. It's anyways. But right. we love you. We love you, Jacque. Well, I'll definitely reach out to you. And in the summertime, you should come out here. We should go to a ball game. We should. I don't play golf, but you could teach me a little bit. I could drive a golf ball. I could definitely drive a golf ball. As far as my wedge game and putting, I probably know nothing about it. So that would probably be funny to watch, but I could drive a golf ball. I've gone to the driving range. I can drive them. So
our Cubs fan Carl also said DJ JJ will be your new nickname.
No,
DJ JJ.
That's actually not that bad.
All right, DJ JJ.
DJ Jacque.
DJ Double J. How about that?
All right, there you go, Carl. DJ Double J. That's what we're going with.
Hey, yeah.
Double Dutch. We'll call you Double Dutch. DJ Double Dutch. There's that fake laugh. Anyway, so there it is.
Look at that.
There it is. What a picture. What a picture over there. And we don't see Sean. He's like a black screen right there.
It's a black screen because when you're driving, you can't really be on the phone, right? You're supposed to be on the phone.
Yeah, you're gonna get us in trouble, man. You're gonna get us in trouble. That's
really
bad.
I'm not gonna get you in trouble because when you have these high-tech technology vehicles, the cars sync to the phone, and then the phone is just sitting in a cup holder, and I'm just still able to talk, and I'm still able to see everything you guys doing. You just can't see me. I'm like Casper the Friendly Ghost, baby. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Oh, are you really a friendly ghost?
It might be too. You too young for that, aren't you, Earl?
No, I know Casper.
Okay,
too young. He's only a year older than me.
I'm just asking.
Jacque, I'm probably older than you, buddy.
No, you're not older than me.
I know I'm not older than you. I remember when you were playing.
I'm old.
I'm just messing. We're all old. We're all old. Once you turn 35, you're old.
Yeah.
Anyways, what were you saying, Sean?
Yeah, you call yourself old, man. I don't call myself old. I still can get out there, do a couple of things if I had to,
Hey, look. I'm old. I'm old, but I'm far from old. You know what I mean? So
that's why I tell them. And if you were Latroy, trust me, I already know. So I don't say that, man. I don't put my man business out there and nothing like that. I just know, though. You know what I mean?
I'll treat you guys like my grandfather. Okay, when I see you.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
You're going to be the one that need the walker.
Are you kidding me? Man, you obviously don't know me. You haven't even seen me in person. You obviously don't know me.
I don't need to. I see enough.
First of all, do you do 3,000 push-ups every single week? Do you do that?
Hey, guess what? I'm gonna tell you something.
What was that?
It's just like in high school when all them guys go in the weight room, lift all them weights and do all of that, but then get on the field and can't do them.
I was a pretty good athlete, so I'm just letting you know. I wasn't a professional football player, but I was a good athlete.
I was a good athlete too. I wasn't just a football player. I played baseball. I played basketball. I mean, what more you want? I got tired of baseball because it was boring, and they always either I was the catcher, pitcher, or I played right field.
You were definitely a catcher, and you're definitely probably a pitcher too. But you're definitely the kind of person that would be a catcher. That's for sure. Anyways.
I didn't.
Look at Chuck's face.
I'm an athlete. You know what I mean? I batted in the lineup. I either batted third or fifth. You know what I mean?
You carry a heavy stick, man.
Pause.
Anyways, Jacque, we love you. We'll be in touch, man. You're fantastic. Keep up the good work, and we'll definitely talk to you over the summer.
Right on. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Jacque Jones.
All right,
Jacque
Speedy.
Jones. Speedy, he loves you, Speedy. Everybody loves you. Everybody loves you. You know, we got to help out with Sean because I mean I call him the black hole right there. I just see a hole. But he says he can play catcher. He's a pitcher. I mean.
And I said right field, my guy. Okay, right field, my guy.
Okay, you can play out there. All right, just go as far as you can.
It gets boring playing the outfield. The ball ain't coming to you if you don't got anything else for them bats. It gets real boring.
That's true. When we come back, I know he's been waiting, ladies and gentlemen, waiting patiently. Our friend, yes, our NFL draft lounge analyst and consultant, John Vogel, here on the Sports Loudmouth.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouth.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy, Petey, and Sean Smith. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy, Petey, and Sean Smith, every single Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in to the show is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Shout out to Jacque Jones for joining us. He's fantastic. He's been on a show. This is the second time he's been on a show. We are going to work something out in the summertime. He's going to come out here. He plays a lot of golf. I've got some connections out here on the golf courses, so I could get him on any golf course he wants. We'll hang out. We'll go to a bowl game because I know he would be awesome to go to a bowl game with. Plus, we have all these MLB players and even players right now in the MLB that want us to go to a ball game and watch them play. So why not bring Jacque Jones, even though he would not want to go to Yankee Stadium because he's seen a lot of bad things happen over there. So anyways, so thank you to Jacque. And now our second guest. He's been waiting patiently, and he's getting ready for the combine tomorrow. He's got a lot of content. We're now talking to NFL Draft Lounge analyst and consultant John Vogel. John, what's up, buddy?
Gentlemen, very busy this time of year, but glad to have a few minutes to come on here and talk some draft with you guys. And Sean, I was surprised to see that you're on here.
Why are you surprised?
Well, so my parents were Redskin fans growing up, so I don't know. I hadn't watched the show for a while. And I was like, oh, dang, they had another guy on here. And I was like, looking, I was like, oh, dang, that's Sean Smith. Okay, holy cow.
Yeah, man, these guys are good people. I decided to team up with them, and I've been enjoying it so far. It's been good, and we have our good banter we have going on every time.
Oh, no, yeah, I definitely got a good taste of that last 25 minutes.
So it's the show's growing. We're growing as we gelling together, and it's just trying to, see what's happening. But since we're talking the draft, I'm ready to pick your brain. Like, who do you think is the top defensive lineman of this year's draft?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so we tape our the Sick podcast with Draft Vogel. We tape that on Wednesday nights. We actually just got done taping. It's going to drop in the morning, where we kind of talked about this. And if we're talking true hand in the dirt player, I think it's Byron Murphy out of Texas.
Texas, yes.
He is an absolute unit, man. Just the way that he can attack, get downhill on people with his hand. He's already really well, prepped with his hands and knows how to use them and set himself up for success. And he's such an athlete at 300 pounds. It's unbelievable when you watch him move, just how smooth he is, through his stunts, dipping around people. He's kind of got, I comped him to Grady Jarrett, but I think that there's definitely a little Aaron Donald to his game. He's still got upside. He's really young. Only started fully this year.
And he has a lot of power. People don't understand. He's real strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And so, I thought that Johnny Newton would be my top graded interior guy, and this, Byron edged him out by a couple points on my grading scale, and for good reason, because he's just got a really great overall skill set.
All right, I got one more question for you too about a defensive lineman. What do you think about the kid from Michigan that they're giving all this hype to?
We talking? Which one are we talking from Michigan? There's about 18 of them that are going to the combine, and
Chris Jenkins.
Oh, yeah, Chris Jenkins. So that's funny that you bring up Jenkins. We had the opportunity over the summer, me and some friends of mine, to sit down with on a Zoom call with Mark Borsak and break down some tape and go through some stuff. And Mark is, he's famously, I don't know if he was running the 40-yard dash when you went to the combine, Sean. He might have been, but he's run it for, I think this will be the 28th year at the combine that he's been doing that. Maybe it's 20. So it's up there. It's been a long time. And we sat down. One of the guys that we broke down was Chris Jenkins, and he's got some real power to his game, but I think he might be more limited to a one tech. Kind of that or zero and true nose.
I was about to say a zero. That one tech is zero. I could see him like in a 3-4 system. He can't go to a
no.
He has to go. He has to go to a 3-4 system. A team that plays a 3-4. A team I can see him going to, though, real talk, the Steelers.
Interesting. No, I could see it. There's a few teams that are still running traditional like 3-4, right? Because everybody's kind of gotten away from the whole 3-4. We're going to play those techs specifically that way, and have ended up lining up in more of a 4-man front. So, but using one of their outside linebackers as a guy that gets after the quarterback as a sort of that defensive end. So what's been kind of interesting is watching the personnel matchings that teams kind of run. There's not a lot of teams that like those types, of what's the word I'm looking for? Of just bull rushers inside. Jacksonville's one of them. They like to use them in a rotation. Baltimore's one of them, but that might be changing. So I could see Seattle maybe going after them. But Pittsburgh would also make sense because they're still running that traditional 3-4.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Baltimore was running it too, but they got a little different shifts out of it, and just like San Fran used to run it too, then they switched it too. I think it's all about your personnel. If you don't have the right personnel, you can't. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest problem with some of these teams with drafting players, and everybody is fans. Fans don't understand. Hey, this guy doesn't work in this system. This is not what he had all his stats at. You know what I mean? Whether it was sacks, tackles, receiving yards. In this system, this is what he was good at. But some teams draft because he's the best player on the board. If I was a GM, I'm not going to always draft the best player available because I need to go what my team needs.
I'll add you another point to that too, Sean, because part of it also is it's not just trying to get the best player or whatever that is. These guys, a lot of these teams now have very high in-depth checklists that they have to run through basically to kind of, in measurables, in testing, in all those different things. Oh, this guy's got to have 33.5-inch arms. He's got to be, over 285, 290 pounds. Whatever that checklist is, it keeps going down the list, and they have all these preferences, and that's the guys that they're going to take and then try to, adjust them into the, transition them into their scheme. So, yeah, it's a whole nother, there's this whole wave of, like the data, the PFF people, those types of intelligence additions that have been added to the scouting community have kind of added a whole nother element to this with team building that kind of, has messed up some players, I think, in their abilities, and projections into teams.
We are talking to NFL Draft Lounge analyst and consultant John Vogel, who's been on the show 4 times. And this is the best time to get him on the show because obviously it's the combine. We have it starting tomorrow throughout the weekend and some of the best young superstars heading into the NFL. And I'm looking at the NFL.com and the combine and where they're ranking these guys right now. And on the top of the leading board right now going into the combine is Malik Neighbors. Out of all the guys, Marvin Harrison Jr., they have Malik Neighbors at a 6.86, Marvin Harrison Jr. 6.83, Caleb Williams 6.76, Brock Bowers 6.75, and Rome Odunze at 6.74, and on and on and on. Do you think Malik Neighbors, I know everybody keeps talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., do you believe Malik Neighbors could be the best wide receiver in this class?
It's possible. I think that when we came into this year, it was sort of a set in stone before the season even started that Marvin Harrison Jr. was the best wide receiver. And I think in the media side of things, it was almost sacrilegious to say anything against that, right? Where, you're just trying to come up with a hot take. But the one thing I think that really stood out with Harrison this year was he just doesn't show up on the field at times. You don't feel his presence, I guess is what I mean. There were a few games that he had that were great, and a lot of times it was against much less superior, talent. But when they ended up in some of those big games last year, the tight games, where was he against Indiana? I don't know where he was in that opener. He was not to be found. Where was he against Michigan? He was struggling there. And, you go back to that pick that Mike Sainer still has, he takes it back to the end zone. Marv had a wide open shot to sit there and jump that ball and at least contest it, so that maybe Mike doesn't pick off that ball. Instead, Mike takes it to the end zone for 6. So he kind of lacks an element of physicality, which kind of makes me think that he's probably a number 2 receiver. He needs, someone else to kind of set himself up to be productive. Think like if he were to go to Chicago, for example, that would be great because you've got DJ Moore there, who's already a number 1. You add Harrison to step in there as the 2. Well, he's a Calvin Ridley type situation when he came out and started playing with Julio a few years ago. So I like that. But Neighbors by himself, man, was absolutely electric out of the slot. He could play out wide. He's very explosive, and he's probably going to run a lot faster than people realize. I think a lot of people had him in that 4.4 range. He's probably going to be a sub 4.4 guy. And he's not going to run at the combine, so we're not going to know. but at least till his pro day, and if he chooses to run there. But he had some absolute vertical ability. He's got some run after the catch ability where he could break some tackles in the open field, and he's got some field vision as well. And his route running, his footwork, through his routes is awesome. And so one of the things that was kind of interesting, I got the opportunity at the Senior Bowl to pick Jerry Rice's brain for a little bit. And because Brendan Rice, his son, was down there playing, and we were talking about wide receivers and some of the different things that you're looking for with route running. And one of the things that he kind of pointed out that I had never noticed, and as soon as he said it, I could see it. I've been seeing it on tape ever since. Is that when you're a wide receiver, you got to keep your hips down at all times. There's a lot of these wide receivers that think they got to throw their shoulders, they got to throw their heads, they got to sink their hips when they hit the top of the break and get into stuff. No, they need to stay low. And that's what, you watch a guy like Malik Neighbors, he runs so low to the ground that he creates that separation when he gets into his break because he's already there. He doesn't have to do anything flashy. And if you look at all the great route runners in the NFL right now, Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson, think top tier, wide route running receivers in the league. They all have that in common.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, they all have that in common where they run so low to the ground, they don't have to do all this extra fancy stuff to try to create separation. It just happens naturally. And, that's why I think Neighbors is probably sitting there and is evaluated really well by them.
So I want to ask about Bowers because obviously as a tight end prospect athletically, he's one of the highest graded we've seen in a while. But tight ends in the top 10, sometimes not great value. What would you do if you were a team drafting in the top 10 with someone like him?
You've got to have an absolute plan for him, right? Because there's not many tight ends that you can line up as an H-back and line up as a running back, line up as a wide receiver out in the slot and put him in line, because people think because he's a little bit on the smaller side, he's not a great blocker. He can take care of his own as a run blocker getting downhill. But the real thing that separates him is he's super versatile. So if I needed a guy that I could plug into a lot of different places and scheme him, specifically into some of those, intermediate areas of the field underneath the reverse actions that Georgia would run with him, maybe even line him up at running back a little bit. That's something that's really popular right now in the league is, getting a wide receiver type that can play running back too. I think when you get all that rolling, it makes all the sense in the world if you got a plan for Bowers to take him in the top 10. I just don't know who in the top 10 outside of maybe Jim Harbaugh would have the creativity to know exactly what to do with him coming out at this point, because there's not, tight end is still one of those positions that people are still kind of figuring out how to transition from college to the NFL and get that immediate production. Detroit did a great job with Sam Laporta last year to get that production out of him. He was in the Rookie of the Year running, but typically tight ends take 3-4 years to transition into the league. So if you don't have an immediate plan for him, you can't take him. You can't go that early.
We are talking to NFL Draft Lounge analyst consultant John Vogel. The New York Jets drafting at 10. Obviously, we're here in New York. The Giants, a lot of people believe Malik Neighbors could fall to the Giants at 6. But the Jets are looking for an offensive lineman. Some stories is that with all the quarterbacks that could be drafted in the top 10, maybe 4, that Joe Alt could be there at 10. I don't believe that. I think Joe Alt goes in the top 7. But there's a kid that's moving up right now. He had a really good senior day, and a guy that the Jets like from Oregon State, and that's Fuyuga. What do you know about him? What makes him so good? They say he's a good run stopper. He's a good, he's a good pass stopper. So a pass rush, he's good at stopping the pass rush. What could you tell us about him that makes him stand out from all the rest?
Fuaga is a power guy, and that Oregon State offensive line this year was among the best it's been maybe ever. I mean, they have some guys that are going to come out next year that are going, well, they might, assuming they stay. The coaching change might shake things up. But, excuse me, sorry. They've got some guys that can absolutely play. Fuaga kind of jumped up the boards as a lot of teams kind of had Oregon State on their, on some of their higher priority check this school out type lists this year. And so when they came out there, they weren't actually looking at him. They were looking at his teammate, Joshua Gray, who played left tackle. Fuaga was playing right tackle. He's a little bit bigger. He's a lot stronger, a lot more physical, and he's got a really good anchor. So that I think that's kind of where the intrigue is with him. I think that he's an interesting prospect because he's got a lot of the traits that you want in an offensive tackle. I think his measurables were really, really good, if I remember correctly. I'm going to try to get those pulled up for you. But when you got you with offensive tackle, you want to bet on length. You want to bet on traits and raw.
334 pounds. That's what he is right now.
Right.
Yep.
Fuaga. Why do I not have him here? I'm in my draft guide. That's up here.
I don't have the draft guide, but I have that he's 6'6", 334 pounds.
Yeah, just came in a tick under 6'6", 332 at the Senior Bowl. Came in. He's got 33 and 3/8 inch arms. Right.
That's pretty
so. One of the things that 33 and 3/8 inch arms, believe it or not, for an offensive tackle is about average. Which it sounds massive, right? But if you look at another thing that you want to always look at with offensive and defensive linemen in particular is that teams tend to have types that they're looking for. It's like what I was just talking to Sean about, is that they have these measurables that they're looking for. They want their guys to be in this certain range. Fuaga would certainly be breaking some of those, tendencies that the Jets kind of go to. He's a lot bigger than they normally like. His arm length, is not exactly ideal for them, but it'd be interesting to see what, if that their line of thinking with the offensive line, because of their lack of success, they're going to start going a different direction with it. That would be very interesting to see.
So I know you got to go soon, so I'll ask one more question. The Bears, what do they do number one? Would you draft Caleb Williams, or would you try to trade the pick and keep Fields and build around him?
Oh my goodness. I would try to move the pick. I would be trying to get rid of it. And I would try to probably move down a couple times because I think you've got something there with Justin Fields. Especially there at the end of the year, that offense started to click, it started to move, and it started to make a lot of sense with, the way that they were functioning together, the way that they were kind of starting to click and gel and mesh, and it was looking good. So I would personally, what I would probably try to do is I really like what Peter King suggested, and congrats to him, by the way. He's, a legend, obviously. But Peter had a really good point that he brought up about Chicago trading from. I think you can get Washington to move up to 1 as long as you can sell them that you're going to take Caleb if they don't make this move. That's going to be the tough part. But you can probably get them to move up and give you a little bit more than they want to for that pick. I think from there, you move 2 down, to somebody who's looking to come up and get one of the top quarterbacks still. That could be Atlanta at 8. Could be Minnesota. It could be a lot of different teams that are in that area. I would do that. I would try to get on top of that because it's a huge opportunity to continue to build your draft capital and bolster everything that you have there in that situation. So you want to add a wide receiver, you want to add some offensive line help, you want to continue to bolster your defensive line. And if you've got, let's say, by the time you trade down, you've got 3 future ones next year, a couple future ones the year after, excuse me, and a bunch of 2s this year. You already got 2 2s this year. You get 1 from Washington. You get 1 from there. So you got 4 2s. We're talking about 6 picks in the top 60 draft slots. That's crazy. Has never been done before. So I'd be looking at doing something like that because I know that I can walk in here, draft whoever the heck I want, and then also next year have the capital, and the year after that to go do whatever the heck I want.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't trust Eberflus. I wouldn't trust anybody over there right now. Unfortunately, I love. I said Cleveland. I love Chicago. I love Justin Fields, and there'll be teams lining up for Justin Fields. Atlanta will be lining up for him if he becomes available. There'll be about 4 or 5 teams that will be interested in making a move to bring in a guy like Justin Fields. I think he's a quarterback. I think he's the best quarterback in that class. It's crazy to say that with Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. For everybody was comparing these guys from 1, 2, and 3. It's Justin Fields, and who would have thought that the Giants would trade off that pick? And,
I get Kadarius Toney and Evan Neal. Great.
Right.
So I bring it up because they're Giant fans. My executive producer Fish is a Giant fan, and Speedy's a Giant fan. I'm a Jet fan, so I can't
laugh about it.
But
hopefully, Becton's still an upgrade over Evan Neal, unfortunately.
Hopefully, the Jets, get it right this offseason, because I'm just tired of watching just terrible football. It just makes me sick to my stomach. But anyways, but we appreciate your time. I know you're busy. I know you're getting ready for the NFL draft, the combine. Are you going to the combine this year?
No, I fell ill this week.
You sound like it.
I'm not 100%. So I had to rest up and stay home this year. But hopefully next year I'll be able to get to it. It will just allow me to have more time to get through some tape and through a couple, we'll do some meetings. We'll do some different stuff. We've been really gracious to work with several agencies this year that have, provided a lot of the, interviews that we've done. We've had, opportunity to interview 4 or 5 guys that are up there right now. And, that's been awesome. So we appreciate all that. And, next year we'll be out there at the combine.
Well, we hope you feel better, obviously, and we will be in touch after the draft as we will be getting ready for the draft, and we'll see what happens. That's pretty much it. But I want to say something before we go. Who do you have the Jets going at number 10?
I did this exercise last week. I was thinking we didn't have Joe Alt there. We didn't have Fashanu there. I think I actually did have him take Fuaga because that has been sort of the rumor that's been floating around. If I was them, I would probably look at him, or I'd be looking at if you were going to take a right tackle, J.C. Latham out of Alabama. He's freaking phenomenal, in the sense of even if he's playing at 365 pounds, he could still move. So we'll see what he weighs in at the combine this year.
I don't want another 370-pound guy. Nope.
Well, this one plays right tackle. This okay? This one plays. He's not a left tackle. He's a right
I don't care what he plays. He could be playing. He could be a running back. He could be a wide receiver. He could be a defensive lineman. I don't want a 370-pound offensive lineman. I don't want it. I go with Fuaga. I do not want a 370-pound guy. After what we've seen with the big ticket, I am done. I am done making excuses for any of these guys. Bring in the right guy.
I don't think J.C. Latham has Eddie Lacy's diet at Alabama.
I'm just tired, man. I'm tired of watching this. Just like as a Jet fan, it just makes me want to throw up. I mean, every time I watch this team, it just I want to yak. Okay, it's just every single guy they bring. They have one good draft, and everybody look at the greatest draft of all time. Look, we got the defensive rookie of the year and the offensive rookie of the year. Okay, great, congratulations. We don't have a quarterback and we don't have an offensive line. So what are we doing? All right, what does that sell to me? You have an offensive mind GM. The guy was an offensive lineman, and our offensive line is absolutely horrible, okay? So don't give it to me. I think Tippmann was a good draft pick. He looks like he's going to be a sensational center, and they have Elijah Verituka, who's really good. If he could stay on the fucking – I'm going to say, I was going to about the curse. Stay on the friggin' football field. I mean, it's just disgraceful. I can't sit and watch this anymore. But anyways, I know you got to get to work. We will talk to you after the draft, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Feel better. John Vogel's been on a show, a draft analyst and a lounge analyst. So he's fantastic. He does what he does. Hopefully he feels better. He didn't sound very good. And, Sean's gone.
Back to Shake Shack.
Oh, man. He mentioned Shake Shack. I love Shake Shack. I'm a Shake Shack guy. I am a Shake Shack guy, Speedy. Are you a Shake Shack guy?
I've only been there a few times. I liked a lot of their I liked some of their shakes. I liked their chicken sandwiches, the spicy chicken sandwich that they had there. I haven't had much of their other food besides that. I think I've only been there like 4 times in my life.
How about you, Fish? Are you a Shake Shack guy?
Actually, I just had it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I somehow just never got around to it.
For the first time?
Yeah, for real. I was down in Florida for 4 years, and it really wasn't down there.
What are you, an
And
old
before
man or
that-
something? You've never had Shake Shack?
I said I just had it. It's good. It's fine. It's just, they're all the places the
It's
same.
fine.
I don't.
You're
get
a
lot
Mets.
of-
Are you a
lot
Mets
of ice
fan?
cream.
Are
No, I
a
know you
Mets
got
fan?
it in center field. I know you got it in center field.
It's not worth waiting the line though.
Why
A
not?
lot of people do.
Why not?
Unless you get there like really early.
I like Shake Shack. I like the food. I like everything about it. I even like it when I go to the ball game because Yankee Stadium don't have it. So I love it when I go to Citi Field because they actually have good food.
No, Snug, I'm not mixing the spicy chicken sandwich inside of the shake.
That's pretty
what is
gross.
That's what he says. Like, so she's part of the spicy chicken shake, not Shake Shack. I'm not mixing the shake and the sandwich together, Snug. I'm not gonna.
Is that what he does?
That's apparently what he likes. Snug and his
That's like the Dun King's version of Shake Shack or something. Blend it all together or something. It's gross.
Speedy doesn't like that. Speedy's not a big fan.
I
of
love
it.
spicy chicken sandwiches and I like shakes. I would not mix them together.
Why? I mean, it depends on what kind of shake it is. You know what I mean? But I like vanilla shakes. If you make me a vanilla shake and you give me a nice burger, I like that. You don't like
I wouldn't mix that. No.
milkshakes with burgers?
I wouldn't mix that.
Really?
No, I would not. I would not mix that. Put the ice cream on the sandwich or the other way around. Like no.
I don't know about putting ice cream on a sandwich.
I think that's what Snug is implying, though.
Is that what he does?
That's what he says. The spicy chicken shake, I'm assuming, is mixed together.
All right, so let's get to the final story. And we don't have our friend over here. We don't have our Sean Smith on, but ESPN's Brian Windhurst reports that LeBron James is seeking a 9-figure contract from the Lakers for the next 3 years. LeBron reportedly wants $60 million per year, which would make him the highest paid NBA player. LeBron will be entering a player option year of $51.4 million next season. LeBron is 39 years old and is averaging 25 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, 7.9 assists per game. LeBron said about his son's NBA lottery that just let the kid be a kid. Stephen A. Smith responded by LeBron's statement saying that he only has himself to blame for his son's scrutiny. Many NBA mock drafts have Bronny not being a first-round pick, and some have him an undrafted player. LeBron will likely team with his son for at least 1 year before he retires. LeBron is going to play at least one more year. If he signs a 3-year deal, I'll be very, very surprised. Okay. I cannot see LeBron James playing 3 more years in the NBA, especially at the age of 39. Now, that doesn't mean he can't, and that doesn't mean he will. I just don't see the Lakers winning another championship for the way they're built right now. They don't have a future. Their farm system, there is no farm system, but their bench of youngsters are not full of talent. They have Anthony Davis, who I honestly believe they should trade in the offseason and build off the draft, or maybe get a high top 5 pick and bring in a young guy to come and play with LeBron James. And so LeBron can kind of develop him if you decide to give LeBron James that $60 million contract. The thing is with the Lakers is they haven't been this bad in a very, very long time. And the last time they were very, very bad was with Kobe Bryant, and they weren't very, very bad. They were a borderline playoff team.
Yeah, they still made the playoffs a lot.
They were a borderline playoff team, but they weren't expected to win. Now, LeBron can make the playoffs with this team, and anybody can make the playoffs with the Western Conference as bad as it is. They're really top heavy. If you look at the Western Conference, they might be top 5, top 6 at best. So if LeBron James can stay 5-6 games over 500, they're going to make the playoffs. But to me right now, LeBron, I don't think they have enough talent right now. And even going into the trade deadline, they had nothing to trade. They had nothing to give up to bring in a Donovan Mitchell like we were hearing about. We didn't hear anything of that magnitude. They could have brought in a young talented player that a team was probably willing to get rid of. I mean, we were talking about Murray being one of those guys that the Lakers were looking at. But the problem with the Lakers right now, and the problem where the Lakers are as an organization, is they're rebuilding. They don't have anything right now that stands out to other teams and other organizations in the offseason. So that's the only thing about the Lakers right now. And if you're a Laker fan, you can't be happy with the way this team was built or the way they're building this team. So I do believe right now, if I were the Lakers, I would talk to LeBron and tell LeBron that we need to rebuild, and we're not going to be able to rebuild with you on this roster, and see where he wants to go and try to get as much as I possibly can back for him. Because the Lakers right now, they have no future. What are they going to do when LeBron James is gone?
Yeah.
Okay. How long is it going to take them to build? Now they have money, and the Buss family for years have, flashed the Lakers emblem, flashed the LA Lakers, and they have Magic Johnson speaking to these young kids and come and play over there. Why would anybody want to go and play for the Lakers right now? There is no superstar there. LeBron James is there, but he's on the tail end of his career. Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. Why would any one of these young, talented players want to go play there at the tail end of LeBron James's career? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you also look at the Lakers, what they've been reputation for was the bringing in the other free agents to go along with it, but their track record outside of LeBron has not really been that great. Anyway, yeah, they brought in Russell Westbrook for cheap fine. They had to make a trade for Anthony Davis, and they traded away a lot of good players in order to do it, including Brandon Ingram, who's thriving with the Pelicans right now. And the Lakers are a lot like what the Knicks were, because the Knicks always, they were rumored for this guy, they were rumored for that guy, and never got it. And the Lakers were in that same boat for a while. Now, because they had LeBron, they won a championship, fine. But you can't expect LeBron to be trustworthy to his word when he hasn't been his whole career.
I think the Knicks are now the Lakers over the last 40 years.
Sure.
And it's crazy to say that because nobody likes James Dolan. Okay. Nobody likes James Dolan. But now that Leon Rose and World Wide West sat down with who's the agent that they sat down with? Rich Paul. And the problem with Rich Paul over the last couple of years is he's LeBron James's agent, and the whole Charles Oakley thing pissed a lot of people off because of James Dolan. And that hurt the possibilities for a team like the Knicks to land some of these big name free agents. Now that Rich Paul and the Knicks have, let bygones be bygones, this opens up many different possibilities for the New York Knicks to land another superstar in the future. And again, I don't want LeBron James there. So that's not what I'm trying to sell or anything like that. And LeBron James came out recently saying after he beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden that he said that he could see himself playing for the Knicks. He could see himself being a Knick for the tail end of his career. The Knicks do not need to bring LeBron James in. He's not going to win another championship over there in New York. And if he wanted to be a Knick, he should have came to the Knicks when he had a chance to decide with Miami and New York. He wanted to go to Miami. He wanted to play with Dwayne Wade. He wanted to play with Chris Bosh, and he won 2 titles. I don't know why the Knicks would want to bring him in and take on a contract like that and take on I really believe a personality like that. You have enough with Julius Randle right now, and I think Julius Randle is taking steps back because now they have a guy like Jalen Brunson. And I think as an organization right now with Leon Rose running it, and he's done everything right. You can't really throw Leon Rose under the bus right now because everything Bogdanovich, it was a good move. I mean, they didn't give up much for Bogdanovich. I do agree with Jeff when he said about the Knicks holding on to Grimes as long as they did, and they could have gotten Donovan Mitchell for him. But here's what they did. If they trade Grimes, they needed to trade RJ Barrett, and it wouldn't have worked because right now, and I'll say this. Since they traded RJ Barrett, when OG Anunoby was traded to the New York Knicks, it was a different team. The rotation was different. The wing defending that they had over there with OG Anunoby before he got hurt was fantastic. The Knicks were on I think they had
Nine-game winning streak.
9-game winning streak. I think they were
Yeah.
12-3 or 13-3 in that month before Anunoby
14-2.
Yeah.
It was great.
Getting Anunoby back definitely changes everything for the New York Knicks. And again, Anunoby said he's going to take less money to re-sign with the Knicks in the offseason. And I just think everything is moving in the right direction for the Knicks. If you decide in the offseason, if the Lakers decide it's not moving forward with LeBron James, do you want to bring in a LeBron James to hurt the chemistry of this team and this organization? I wouldn't. They're finally doing the right thing. They really are. They're building around young players. They have 6 first-round draft picks in the next 2 years. They haven't had a first-round draft pick in almost 3 years. And they have like 7 or 8 second-round draft picks coming up in the next 3 years. So they have enough right now. They can move up in the draft this year, add wing players that they need, or big men, or side, a power forward that they might be looking for in the offseason now that Randall is going to either take his player option or not. So the Knicks have stuff and have pieces they can build with and have salary room where if Randall decides to step away from the Knicks, they have enough to get 2 max players.
Right. And you also look at that trend of trying to build like that older school big 3 that Miami did. And LeBron is really the only one that you can make it work with. But look at how many teams have tried to undo that philosophy after accumulating all those young players and how quickly it can crash and burn. The Nets are obviously the biggest example of that with the big 3 they tried. And now they have some draft picks left, but they don't have as much as they should. And now you're kind of seeing that in the West with the Phoenix Suns. And the Lakers are right now the exception of that because they got the championship. But still, they also had some really bad years amidst all that after building up
When
Lonzo
LeBron
Ball.
James retires, how many years is it going to take this team to be on top of the Western Conference again, to win, to be a championship contender?
Right.
I mean, you have Denver now, Sacramento, you have OKC, who's probably going to be the best team in the Western Conference in the next 3 years. With all those draft picks that they have and the young talent that they have right now, honestly, I think OKC is going to win multiple championships. You see what Denver is right now? I think they're even better than Denver. I think they just have a tremendous amount of talent.
Right.
And they're not paying any of those guys.
Yep.
So what is going to happen with all the draft stock that they have? I think they have 7 first-round draft picks or 8 first-round draft picks in the next 3 years or 4 years. I mean, OKC is going to run the NBA.
Yeah,
That's what it's
Shea
going to be.
Alexander's the only one that has a max contract, I think, and he doesn't even have a super max, and he should because he's playing phenomenally this year.
That includes the Lakers pick, by the way, this year.
Oh, yeah.
They have the Lakers pick from the Anthony Davis deal. The Lakers, they really need to do something now. And if they don't keep LeBron, I don't really know what that is. But at the same time, you were mentioning before, Errol, OG Anunoby said he would take less money. Now, OG Anunoby is not LeBron, but his defense is better at this point in LeBron's career. And I would rather have someone at half the price, in fact, probably less than half the price or around half for that'll be better fit, won't take up all the usage as LeBron does. Why wouldn't you rather keep that? Obviously, we haven't seen OG since he got hurt. Some of us forget, and we've seen LeBron's 21-year career. But, they're not winning with LeBron and Anthony Davis having really good years right now. I mean, if you look at LeBron's numbers, he's actually shooting better than he ever has in his career. From 3, he's at 40%, and he's really been under 35 his whole career. He's not the same player, but he's still putting up virtually the same numbers. He's got, the same rebounds, assists, a couple of points down. That's it.
Yeah, but here's the problem. And I'll say this. He's shooting more this year. He absolutely shooting more this year. I think he's shooting 3 more shots or 2 more shots a game. And here's the problem. You can have 2 great players on a team. If you don't have a bench and you're not getting, a third shooter, because look, if you look at Miami, you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers when they won a championship, it's very simple. LeBron James was the best player. Kyrie Irving was the second best player, and Kevin Love was the third best player. And what did they need from Kyrie Irving? LeBron was scoring 26 to 28 points a game. Kyrie Irving was making 22, 23 points a game. And then Kevin Love was getting 17, 18 points a game. Same thing with Miami. In Miami, LeBron was averaging between 28 and 26 and doing what he does with rebounds and assists. And then you had Dwayne Wade that was averaging 25 to 24 points a game. And then you had Chris Bosh, which was taking the pay. He was taking the cut because he came from Toronto, averaging 23, 24 points a game. He took a cut and he's shooting 17, 18 points a game. But with the endorsements that LeBron James was getting and Dwayne Wade, they took less money so Chris Bosh can make more because he wasn't the superstar of the team or the second superstar of the team. And that's where LeBron right now, where he's sitting, he's 39 years old. Does anybody really want to play with LeBron James anymore? And that's the facts. It's not that LeBron James doesn't make everybody around him better, but does he get the team over the hump that he has done over the years when he did it with Cleveland and when he did it with, obviously, when they won a championship in the bubble with the Lakers and then winning the championships that he did over there in Miami. I don't think he's that player anymore.
And again, systemically too, that kind of system is going away from a lot of these teams that have won. Outside the Warriors that are still kind of an older team, a lot of the teams that have won championships recently were building on, all right, one superstar player, one other star player that has a max contract, and 3, 4, 5, like 4 other players that were making good money, but not like you have to pay him this drastic amount of money and then pay everyone else vets minimum. That's what LeBron teams have had a lot of the time too. Like you said, those big threes. Then the next guy making money is probably J.R. Smith on that Cavs team. Like it wasn't much. Iman Shumpert, like whoever's the next highest paid player. That philosophy is going away for a lot of these teams that are building differently, a lot like the Bucks are doing, like the Nuggets are doing, like the Celtics are doing now.
I don't like what the Bucks are doing.
Well, now I'm talking about when they were building their championship originally.
The Bucks have nothing, and they can't stay healthy, and they're depending on a point guard that's 32, 33 years old. He could still put up the threes, he could still shoot, but he doesn't play defense. And they lost, I believe, a very big piece in their championship runs on those years in Drew Holiday.
Right.
They should have kept Drew Holiday and brought Damian Lillard in, because then they have a good backcourt like Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is your shooting guard. Drew Holiday is your point guard. You have an efficient point guard that can defend multiple positions at any of the guard or small forward positions. And then you can move Damian Lillard wherever you want to shoot the ball. That would have made a lot of sense. Them doing what they did, trading Drew Holiday away, made absolutely no sense.
Doc will figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Doc has a better chance of itching his own ass. Okay? I mean, seriously.
Something interesting, besides Doc, didn't we forget that although the Lakers are a disaster right now, this is the team that won the vaunted mid-season NBA Cup. They should be just fine when they get to the playoffs. They're the NBA Cup champs.
That means just as much as winning the Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player.
That trophy meant nothing. I knew it was a joke when they developed and they built that stupid tournament. It's so stupid. And the NBA is going to keep it because guess what? They're selling more jerseys, the courts, everything that they're doing. And really, I think they were selling the tickets for more for that tournament too. So it doesn't make any sense why the NBA decided to part ways with it. It just, and the players, if they win, each and every player gets an extra $500,000. Who wouldn't want that? An extra $500,000 in their pocket.
It just kind of goes to show, that that's not a real version of what, the highest level of competition is. And I mean, right now, the NBA guys didn't take that seriously.
Right now, the Lakers are sitting at 10, so they play in the play-in game. But who are they playing in the play-in game? Sacramento. Okay, they don't stand a chance. All right, I'm sorry. No. And the play-in game is 3 games. You play 3 games, and the best out of 3. And
they're a lower seed. They're going to have to play 3.
Yeah, and they're not going to beat Sacramento. Not right now.
No,
I
think Sacramento could ride at the top 6. They might even play someone else.
Maybe the Suns. Could you imagine the Suns? They could beat the Suns.
I think so, too.
I think they beat the Suns.
Yeah.
If they match up against the Suns, I think they beat them. Because I think LeBron, I think he's in Kevin Durant's mind. I do. Sure. Whenever they play, if you look at their record, you look at LeBron James' record against Kevin Durant, it's light years better. Mm-hmm. So, and for some reason, Kevin Durant in the big game, if he's not playing with Golden State, he just can't get over the hump. Mm-hmm. He just never can get over the hump. And that team is so overrated.
Agreed.
It's just not that good. I mean, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, both guys, all 3 guys are asking or expecting the ball in their hands at all times. It doesn't work. And I told you that, Speedy. It was never going to work. Yeah. The fact that they're sitting there at the 6th seed after the season they started off as, I'm surprised. Phoenix isn't going anywhere. They're not beating even if they get out of that game, they're not beating Minnesota. They're not beating Oklahoma. They're not beating Denver and not beating the Clippers. As a matter of fact, I watch out for the Clippers out of all these teams because Kawhi Leonard is healthy. And we have seen Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs. He's a different person. Just like Jimmy Butler and what Jimmy Butler does, Kawhi Leonard's the same type of player.
Hopefully Kawhi Leonard
Playoff
can lead
Jimmy.
James Harden's playoff woes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What were you saying, Fish?
You know, I was down in Florida, and they got a big deal. They call him Playoff Jimmy down there, and he just turns it on. And he made, Julius Randle's life hell. Of course, hurt. And Julius Randle's hurt again, and he's going to try to play through it again. And we've seen what it looks like when Julius Randle tries to play through it and tough it out. His numbers fall off a cliff. I just come back when you're healthy, get healthy.
But he's not.
We'll make the playoffs.
I don't think
like the Lakers. Who cares?
I don't think Julius Randle is the same player he was, and because for the last couple of years with the injuries that he's had, he always thought, even last year, he thought he was the number one guy. I think he realizes he's not the number one guy anymore. And bringing OG Anunoby in, and like Speedy was saying before the show, OG Anunoby changed the characteristic of this roster. He's given them hope because for years the Knicks have been looking for a wing defender. They've been looking for one to defend that position where they could defend those top guards at any position, or even a really good 3 shooter. They didn't have it. Now they have a guy that's an all NBA defensive player. He's been an all NBA defensive player who wants to be here, will take less money to stay here and play in the Tom Thibodeau defense. So I think Anunoby is the most important piece to bring back before the playoffs. He needs to be healthy. We don't need Julius Randle. If Julius Randle plays and he gives the Knicks 18, 17 points and he doesn't force the ball up and become the bricklayer he once was, or he is, then the Knicks are going to have a very quick playoff. But if he comes in and he knows he's the second guy and he's going to touch the ball in certain aspects of the game, but he's not going to be the finisher, then the Knicks might have something with OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson coming back, Bogdanovich. I mean, this team has the most depth it's ever had in even the 90 Knicks. And I mean, Fish, about the 90 Knicks. You're 38 years old. Even the 94 Knicks and the 93 Knicks, when they were just about to break through, and I don't know if any of these new Knick fans know about this. Their bench was not good. I mean, it was a young Anthony Mason you brought in. You had Xavier McDaniel there. You had Kiki Vanderway over there. This was not a good bench. Charles Smith. I mean,
Charles effing Smith.
Yes. I mean, you go down and look at that roster. It wasn't the best bench. Their front five obviously had Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Charles Oakley. They had players that Charlie Ward. I mean, you had players, but they just didn't have the depth. This might be the most depthful team the Knicks have had since the 70 Knicks, and I wasn't even alive for that. So hopefully, if they can stay healthy and they have a healthy Mitchell Robinson, Hartenstein coming off the bench, I mean, that's that second team type of New York Knicks team. If you can get from the second team half of what you can get from the first team, the Knicks could be a very, very dangerous team in the Eastern Conference. As a matter of fact, I think they match up very well against the Boston Celtics. Very well, if they're healthy. But we'll see. I don't know how that's going to fall, but I'm interested to see it. I hope Randle comes back. Where Speedy was saying that he heard that Randle might be back next week. That's not true.
Oof.
It's OG Anunoby that will
OG.
be practicing with the team at the end of this week. He just had surgery. He had, I think it was ankle surgery, right? Was it ankle? Or
No, elbow. Bone spurs.
Okay. Oh, elbow surgery. He was out for 3 weeks. I know that's Jeff. So
I want to put him on, or
all right, put Jeff on, because I know I mentioned the Celtics, so I know that pisses him off.
Yeah, Jeff.
No, I nothing about the Celtics. I actually wanted to put Errol on something that may inspire him.
Oh,
believe it or not.
Is it inspire?
It should be inspiring to you. This could be good news for you in a way.
What?
Right? Did you see that Tyler Cole? Do you know who Tyler Kolek is?
No.
Tyler Kolek is was the Big East Player of the Year last year, and he plays for Marquette, plays guard for Marquette.
No, okay. I know. Okay, I know who you're talking about now.
Right. So there are reports today that he failed 3 of his midterms, and that he's going to be suspended from Marquette, and that he cannot read. So the good news for you is it should be inspiring, because there's another person that can't read that you should draw inspiration from. Just because you can't read doesn't mean you can't be good at something.
Are you done?
I mean, not by a long shot.
I figured you're not. Anything else you want to speak about?
No, I mean, don't you find that inspiring?
No, I don't find it inspiring. You know what I find inspiring for you? That you would call up at the end of the show to inspire people on your stupidity. Okay,
Jeff, I will read your comment though. Fish, do you eat fish? That's cannibalism.
No, I don't.
Oh, so there's your answer, Jeff. He does not eat fish.
I eat fish.
Shellfish.
Fish not eating fish. He must be single.
Just salmon. Just salmon.
He
like
likes
lox
salmon,
and bagels.
That's fish, bro.
Just that. As I said, just that. It tastes different than all the other fishes. You know
You're a
that.
salmon cannibal, according to Jeff.
Sure.
And do we love Nicole Hardman or do we hate Nicole Hardman as Jets fans? I'm trying to decide.
I think he's funny. I think he's an idiot too. So
why is he an idiot? I think he made some solid points.
He made 2 solid points until he said, the Jets shouldn't be telling me how to win. But what have you won? You're playing with Patrick Mahomes and a team with one of the greatest coaches of all time. I'm not going to take anything from him about winning. By the way,
how many guys on the Jets have caught Super Bowl winning touchdown passes?
I think me and you could have caught that touchdown.
Right, but we didn't. So how many guys on the Jets have caught Super Bowl winning touchdown
saying
passes?
that we could have. So who cares?
Right, but I'm also asking how many guys on the Jets have caught Super Bowl winning touchdown passes. He makes a strong point. He makes very strong points. The guy's a winner wherever he's been.
Oh yeah, he's a winner. He went to the Jets. He wasn't a winner there. So
yeah, right. Well, maybe that's because we're hopeless. Like, as a Jets
we're
fan,
hopeless. We're hopeless.
Right? Like, I'm despondent about the state of the Jets as a Jets fan, for sure.
And how about the state of you, Jeff? I mean, how are you a Jet
doing
fan?
great.
Yeah, you're a Patriot fan to a Jet fan.
I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Jet fan. You've converted me because every conversation has to be compared to the Jets. It's like the Jets theme has like washed over me. So now I'm a Jets fan. Like I'm fully immersed in it. I hate Mekhi Becton.
Don't worry. Jeff has as many playoff wins as being a Jet fan as Mikey C has as being a Patriot fan.
That's true too.
Mikey C's had 5 years of being a Patriot fan. They haven't won a playoff game.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss victory Mondays with Mikey, but as a Jets fan, we'll start our own trend.
You know what's that? Losing Mondays?
Losing Tuesdays because we're going to be on primetime games a lot. So we're going to get Monday night
time.
Oh, I'm jumping for joy watching the Jets play primetime games. Oh, man.
I am. Think about it. Think about how great that's
going to need some of A-Rod's ayahuasca.
No, actually, do you want to know what's funny? Since you say that, do you probably know who what my most profitable bet was in NFL this year? And I'm not even joking.
Yes, punts. I mean, punts, right? Punts or something?
Kicking.
No. Well, I did bet some punts. I did have some games where the over 9.5 punts hit. So punts was a thing. But Greg Zuerlein over 1.5 field goals made was an absolute ATM machine.
All righty. Leg.
It's good to know.
Thank you, Jeff.
I mean, go back and look at all the games. Look at how many times he hit 2 field goals in a game. Seriously, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm. Call up tomorrow, Jeff. We got to go.
Go Jets.
Oh, God. Such a smart ass. Really is a smart ass. Calls up the show, pisses me off. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay, Jeff. You can pretend that you're a Jet fan. It's okay. I wouldn't mind you a Jet fan if you were really actually a Jet fan, but it's okay. You know what? I'll pretend I'm a Patriot fan, okay? And watch terrible football for the next 10 years because that's what all the Patriot fans are going to be looking forward to. No more Bill, no more Tom. It's all about losing. So let's reach out to our friend, Mr. Kraft.
Have fun getting Jimmy G back.
Well, Jimmy G is going to be backing up somebody next year.
Yeah.
After he comes back from his two-game suspension
Right.
for doing steroids. Very interesting. What was he pounding out? A Playboy model or something like that. And he needed a little juice.
No wonder Robert Kraft likes him so much. He'll be perfect.
He needed a little juice in that thing of his. But anyways,
That's why they're bringing in Jimmy G. Right? Robert Kraft will have his choice of Playboy.
we could have hooked up Sean with that bat.
That
I
is
mean,
true.
he was talking about a lot of meat sticks.
Yes, he was.
He was talking about a lot about meat stick tonight. I don't know what was wrong with Sean. I guess he was really hungry.
Yeah, that was his special at Shake Shack.
What were you saying?
He was
Fish?
talking about a bunch of stuff tonight. I tried to catalog all of it. He did disappear on us like Casper, like he said earlier tonight.
Yeah.
And,
what can I say?
Yeah,
well,
and
you know what it is every time Sean's on the show, we see nothing but a black room or we see a black car or whatever. So, I mean, I love Sean when he comes on there he is, Casper, the friendly ghost. There he is. We got to fix
could
that.
have caught a flight.
There's an app that you could just take the background out and just put his head on it. There is actually an app.
Nah, I got to go.
Yeah. So
I'll figure it out. I'm all out.
It looks even more funnier if you could do that. I've done that before, by the way. But yeah, Sean looks kind of like Casper. He does. He looks like the black Casper. The black Casper the ghost.
A remake, they remake everything these days.
There he goes. This is long lost brother. I love Sean. I really do. I love him. Anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back tomorrow. Who do we have on, Speed?
All right, at 8:30, a new guy, Chris Wormley. He's a defensive lineman. This season was with the Carolina Panthers. He's also played for the Ravens and the Steelers in his career, so he'll be on at 8:30. And then at 9 o'clock, returning to the show, we had our Minnesota baseball friend on today. We have our Minnesota football friend on tomorrow. Mr. Bursick will be back on at 9 o'clock.
Oh, Mr. Bursick. Oh, I can't wait for this. I can't wait to hear this rubbish. Anyways, I'm sure everybody remembers Mr. Bursick. Pete Bursick, ex-linebacker, played for the Minnesota Vikings. He's the play-by-play color guy for the Minnesota Vikings on the radio. Big fan of our show, and we're a big fan of his. And the last time we spoke, it was when the Jets were playing the Vikings. So
you were so sure they were going to win that game.
Yes, I was.
And the great Mike LaFleur let you down.
Yeah, what can I say? Anyways, I'm looking forward to getting Pete on the show. I'm sure he was excited to come back on the show.
Of course.
And we have he's still playing.
He's still playing. He played this season with the Carolina Panthers. Chris
Yeah.
Wormley. He's 30 years old. He's a defensive lineman.
All right, so we'll get Chris on the show. That'll be fun. I would love to hear what he had to say about Frank Wright and that whole thing. That's horrible to see what happened to Frank Wright. He lost the locker room pretty fast, and obviously ownership didn't think he fit there. But I think he should get an offensive coordinator job. I'm very surprised nobody's hired him.
He'll be back with the Eagles in some capacity at some point.
I'm surprised they didn't hire him.
Yeah.
Why did they bring Kellen Moore in? He's a loser. A loser to a guy that's actually been an offensive coordinator for a winning team.
Yep.
I mean,
Kind of thought he'd end up down with Dougie Peterson down in Jacksonville, have a little reunion there. But I don't know, maybe needs a year.
Peterson. How about the Giants with Dable? That might have been nice. I mean, he's a New York, he's a New York representative. Maybe the Jets. I mean, firing Nathaniel Hackett. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. But
Fish, you're asking Trent Baalke to do smart things. I don't know if you could actually trust that.
By the way, before Frank Wright got hired by the Carolina Panthers, the number one guy that Jets wanted to hire as their offensive coordinator was Frank Wright. And if he didn't sign with Carolina to take the head coaching job, I think he's the offensive coordinator, not Nathaniel Hackett. And maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't here.
Maybe it's Derek Carr. Yeah.
Maybe it's Derek Carr.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think that, but I think that's where the Jets were looking as far. And I think Frank Wright's a better offensive coordinator a lot better than Nathaniel Hackett right now, as far as we've seen. As we've heard, and just for all the Jet fans before we go, is the Jets don't have one offensive coordinator. They have 3. So just so everybody knows, this year, Nathaniel Hackett is not calling all the plays, just so you know. And it's not going to be Robert Saleh. It's going to be the wide receiver coach in, what's his name again? I think there's a wide receiver coach that's going to be calling the plays, and Downs, I think it is, the old Tennessee Titans.
Downing, yes.
Downing. He is going to be the other one. He's the assistant offensive coordinator.
Sean Jefferson? That's
yes.
The guy? Okay.
He's the other one.
All right.
So 3 guys will be calling and making decisions on the sideline for the offense for the New York Jets. So they don't have 1, ladies and gentlemen. They have 3. So who's better than the Jets? Not many, let me tell you. I don't think anybody wants to be the Jets right now. And anybody that's a Jet fan that's going to sit here and tell me that that's what's going to sell. I mean, I love it when those Jets analysts, they do their podcasts right now. I'm not going to mention any names, and they want to sit there and like burst every Jet fan's bubble. Okay. Oh, they're going to be great this year. They're going to get this guy. They're going to add this guy. They're going to add that guy. They do this every single year.
Maybe they'll go sign Marcus Valdez-Scantling now.
He's free. He's available.
Yeah,
he'll go to the Jets. He's very close with Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't be surprised if Scantling goes to the Jets. Don't be surprised if he signs with the Jets. But I'm going to tell you this right now, and for all you Jet fans out here, and this is coming from a real Jet fan, if you think for 1 second they're going to make the right decisions this offseason, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't stay healthy this year, it doesn't matter who the backup quarterback is. It doesn't matter who the offensive line is going to be. They're going to suck. Robert Saleh is not going to have a job at the end of the year, and either is Joe Douglas. You can book it and you can sell it. The secret here is, the secret sauce is Aaron Rodgers. That's the only sauce the Jets have. And whatever sauce they think they have besides that, good luck, because the only sauce I'm going to give you is the sauce that I'm going to give you in your hot dog by the end of the year.
They have a sauce, but he's on defense.
Speedy, you like hot dogs?
I do.
You also like sausages?
I do.
Okay. Do you like ketchup on your sausage?
Not on sausage. I'll tolerate it on hot dogs. It's not my favorite thing.
What do you like on your sausage?
I sometimes I will do some onions, grilled onions. Yeah, grilled onions. I sometimes will make a sausage. Sometimes I'll make it like a cheesesteak too, where I'll melt the peppers and onions with the cheese on it too. Sometimes I'll do it like that as well, or I'll just eat it on its own just for flavor.
He just wants to eat it on somebody because he likes the flavor.
On a person? And
I was hoping that he didn't hear that.
No, I did.
They've got sushi restaurants like that, I've heard.
Well, would you eat a sausage at a sushi restaurant?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not.
You like your sausages. So
yeah, sushi's like I haven't had it that much in my life.
As long as it's dark,
type
right?
of cuisine, so
dark and tasty, right?
I don't know if that would be at a sushi place. It'd be fused with something else, probably.
Fused.
I don't have a lot of familiarity with sushi.
Fusion
places.
restaurant.
I've never heard anybody say it's fused. It's something.
Well, food fusion is a commonality.
Only Speedy.
No. Food fusion is a common term.
Do you use that common term?
I don't know. No. I'm talking about in like just food, like culinary anything.
Oh, listen to him. He's a culinary.
No, not me. I'm not saying me. It's a common culinary term, fusion. I never saw it with sausages and sushi.
I love when he says that. He says sausages. Sausages. Say it one more time, Speedy. Sausages. I like that. We got to use that as the drop right there. Sausages.
We got to call up Jimmy Dean's and get you to be their spokesman or something like that.
He would be a great sausage guy. Yeah,
like you should be like
hold the sausage in your hand.
No,
like this.
I'm not holding it up for a commercial.
In a bun, you have it in a bun.
I'm not holding it up for a commercial.
In a bun, and he has like half of it in his mouth. He's like, "Oh, good sausage."
Yes, and the majority of food that is shown in commercials like that end up being poisonous because of food art.
Then you see the sausage come right behind him, like it's like sticking right over there by his mic. He's like, "Oh, a sausage!" Oh.
I want to have a mic in a sausage commercial.
Well, you can use the sausage as your mic.
To promote what? He's saying Jimmy Dean's. That's a food company. Why would I need a mic?
No, you put the sausage on your mic stand.
What?
You put it right here and you'd start chewing on a sausage.
Why would I put it on a mic stand? That's very inconvenient.
How do you know it's inconvenient? You don't have to hold it, right?
It's still harder to eat off of a mic stand.
How is it harder to eat on
Because
a mic stand?
then I have to go through this, whatever the material is made of, in order to do that.
They have mic stands that you could fit the sausage right on. What are you talking about? How many mic stands have you ever? You're on a different mic stand. There are many, many different mic stands that you could stick.
It's still harder to eat it that way.
No, it's not. You don't have to hold it. You could just chew on it.
I don't care. I'm not
You
taking
can
the chance
multitask better.
I
Especially
think
for a
it'd be better.
commercial.
Well, I want you to promote a sausage.
I'm not promoting anything.
I'm just telling you. I think it would be great. For
Speedy Sausages.
Speedy
Like that would be a
Why are
great
you-
company.
Why are you influencing him?
Speedy.
Like it sounds like I would buy
Sausage.
that.
Yeah, I think it rolls off the tongue.
It does.
You don't like it?
Find somebody else to do your commercial then.
You'll be our commercial.
No, I won't.
Anyways, there you go. So we have a great show lined up. No Sean Smith tomorrow. So it'll be, so we'll have Tommy Scoops back in doing the Sports Minute. Fish, as always, as our executive producer, Speedy. Thank you to Sean Smith for popping in here for most of the show and being Sean Smith, being the funny, crazy lunatic that he is. And we'll be back tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Tune in, as always. All you have to do to tune in if you miss our show, or if you miss any of our shows, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify. Obviously, go to The Sports Loudmouth. You can find us there. Also now, YouTube. You can go on YouTube, The Sports Loudmouth also. So it's all separate words. You can find it. It's right on the top. It's a guy sitting and eating some popcorn with our logo on his shirt. So you can check us out over there. And we have some new posts, and we're working on our new YouTube. And our website should be up in a week. So it's almost done. It might even be up in at the end of the weekend. So I'm working on it, and it should be up. So we'll have that too. So we'll have ways for you guys to go in and interact with us in the very near future. Anyways, that's it for our show. We went over the time by 48 minutes. And but thank you again to all the great guests that we had, and we will be back tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.